Little Jasmine was playing football with her friends when they stopped because someone had to go pee.
Yeah, I gotta go too.
They all went to the woods, and Jasmine's jaw dropped upon seeing them.
What in the world? Why are they all peeing standing up like that?
Jasmine is the youngest child and only girl in an all-boy family. Her mother passed away when she was born, so she grew up with her father and 3 brothers. Her dad is a successful businessman who can ensure a happy life for his 3 sons, but struggles with Jasmine because he's only used to raising boys. Although he tried his best to raise a daughter, Jasmine became more like a 4th son. She has short hair, dresses like them, and plays her brother's games. She even tends to skip showers for days at a time. Her bedroom is messy and decorated with boy stuff. Her brothers even gave her a boy's name. One day while playing, her eldest brother Gary called over his younger siblings. Roll call! Like soldiers, the 3 younger siblings lined up from tallest to shortest, proclaiming their names loud and proud. Gary, Aaron, Nick.
Jasmine?
Her brothers looked at her, frowning disapprovingly. Then Gary had an idea. Nah, that doesn't sound right. How would you like a new name?
A new name?
Not a real new name, just a nickname. Something cool we can call you. How about that?
Sure.
How about we call her Gucci? Gucci, like the luxury brand?
Yeah, it sounds cool.
So, how about that, Jasmine? You like Gucci? Jasmine nodded, and from that day forward, everyone called her Gucci. She learned to like it more than her real name, and as she grew up, she just assumed she was a boy. That is, until the incident happened today. Feeling absolutely bamboozled, Jasmine dashed home to tell her dad what she saw.
Dad, am I a different type of boy?
No, you're a girl, Jasmine.
A girl? Does it matter?
Not really.
Okay, cool. That's all I need to know.
After that, Jasmine still dressed up and played boys' games until a shocking event happened when she turned 12. One day at school, Jasmine suddenly felt very tired and her stomach hurt.
Can I use the restroom, please?
Yes, is everything okay?
Yeah,
But the moment she stood up, the boy sitting next to her started yelling to the rest of their classmates. Gucci, there's something on your pants! Jasmine looked down and her face started burning bright red. She was frozen as laughter erupted from the rest of the classroom. Unable to take another second of it, she sprinted from the room and didn't look back, despite her teacher shouting her name down the hall. Jasmine couldn't understand what was happening to her and frantically searched the school for her brothers. When she did find them, they were just as puzzled as she was, trying to figure out what to do. They didn't realize they had ended up in front of the nurse's office. Once safe inside the office, Jasmine asked,
Give it to me straight, ma'am. Am I dying?
No.
Oh, my dog! I'm totally dying, aren't I?
I got a big game coming up. I haven't even tried. You're not dying. It's called period, honey.
Then how do I stop it from happening?
You can't. It's gonna keep happening because you're becoming a woman.
A woman? What the?
But problems still followed Jasmine even after she entered high school. And one of those problems was mean girls.
We all know you're gay, Gucci. Tell us who you have a crush on. Well, I've liked you for a long time, Tiffany. Want to go on a date? In your dreams.
Jasmine was pleased with herself as the group of girls stormed off. One day, Jasmine was walking down the stairs when she slipped, but someone caught her. She looked up at her savior to find Mike, the new student/angel who just joined her high school. This was the first time Jasmine had felt her heart beat so fast. Not counting the time she accidentally peed on her father's Persian rug when she was 4 years old.
Hey, shut your front door!
At that moment, Jaden quickly took the opportunity, pretended to fall on the two of them, and uttered a line that still makes him admire his own disguise skills to this day. Ouch! Ouch! My ankle! Who the fudge spilled water all over the stairs? Jasmine turned to look at the person who had just spoken. Then a hand reached out. You okay, bro? Jasmine blushed and looked up. She saw Mike offering her his hand and shyly reached for it. But suddenly, it hit her.
He called me bro!
From then on, Jasmine continuously ran into Mike in class, in the library, and found herself falling for him. But every time Jasmine greeted him, hey, what's up, bro? But Jasmine didn't want him to be her bro. She wanted him to be her beau. She decided it was time to do something. Jasmine secretly put food and lollipops in Mike's locker and was caught by Tiffany.
You know that's a boy's locker, don't you? Sorry if you're disappointed it's not yours. Why don't you just quit while you're ahead, Gucci? Mike is into real girls.
I bet he doesn't even know you're supposed to be one. As Tiffany laughed, Jasmine turned bright red with anger. Storming away, she was determined to become the kind of girly girl Mike could fall for. Jasmine thought she would have to change from the inside out, so this would be her first destination. However, out of much embarrassment, she resorted to wearing a hoodie to fully cover herself. Jasmine suddenly noticed a saleswoman following her around the store. I'm gonna need security to get over here now. This dude is sus.
No, I'm just browsing. I'm trying to find a birthday gift for my, sister.
Ah, right on. We have some lacy ones, bright colors like neon green, and hot yellow that dudes really like.
Jasmine felt dizzy. Just imagining wearing any of these made her feel embarrassed.
Quickly, she thanked the saleswoman for her help and told her she'd come back, then hurried out of the store.
How is being a girl so difficult? I wish I had some girlfriends to help with this. I have no clue what I'm doing.
As soon as Jasmine got outside, she noticed Jaden checking himself out in front of a glass door. Excellent! My cover as Jaden is perfect. No one's gonna know who I really am.
Jeez, this guy again. He seemed so self-obsessed. So much more girly than I could ever be.
Jasmine then immediately came up with this brilliant idea, but Jaden had already left. The next day, Jasmine saw Jaden again, who was enthusiastically chatting with the gossip girls. Do these girls know how to get to the point? This gossip is exhausting. I just need them to say something relevant about Mike so I can get on with this investigation. When the mean girls left, Jasmine finally worked up the nerve to approach him with her proposition.
Can you help me be more like those other girls?
Like what? Chatty?
More, feminine?
No thanks.
Oh, come on. I know you have it inside.
I don't have time for this nonsense. I have a job to do. Jaden started walking away, but Jasmine wasn't going to take no for an answer.
Please, I want to get Mike to like me, and he only likes girly girls.
Jaden realized this could be a good opportunity for him to get to Mike, instead of directly approaching him, which could easily raise suspicion, so he agreed. Together, Jaden and Jasmine found out that he seemed to be into designer stuff. He also adored Kendall Jenner very much. Looks like Mike has expensive tastes.
Money's not a problem.
Then she dragged Jaden to the mall. They bought all kinds of designer dresses, high heels, and bags, which made Jaden's jaw totally drop. Jeez, I didn't expect you to be rich.
My dad is a collector of sorts. He likes antiques and things. You know, like those fancy old Persian carpets, original artwork, porcelain vases and things. He has a good job, so I guess he can afford such an expensive hobby.
Then Jaden also taught Jasmine how to walk and behave like a girl. Jasmine struggled a lot. She was just so used to acting like a boy that acting like a girl was more foreign to her than her dad's Nordic glassware.
How come you're better at being a girl than I am?
Because I spent endless days and nights doing research on this character so I could easily master all this girly stuff. Oh, I guess it's all in my genes. And that made Jasmine fall over laughing. The following day, Jasmine came to school with her brand new look and was immediately thrust into the spotlight. However, the only ones who didn't seem to notice were Mike and Tiffany.
This plan seems like a bust.
You can't lose the race before you've even reached the starting line.
He seems to have even more faith in me than I have in myself. Gotta trust the process, I guess.
And indeed, the following days, Jaden tried his best to help Jasmine approach Mike. At lunch, when Mike passed their table, Jaden designedly dropped Jasmine's apple, which he caught just before it hit the ground. Can I sit here? After a few days, Mike fell for it hook, line, and sinker. He tracked Jasmine down at the end of the day to ask her out.
So, things didn't work out between you and Tiffany?
Psh, no. I found out all her designer clothes were knockoffs. Can you believe that? I just hate liars. Don't you?
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, is that yes to a date?
Absolutely.
Who fell for it hook, line, and sinker then? Soon enough, Jasmine and Mike were officially dating, and Jaden didn't miss this chance to follow them 24/7. Jaden always seemed to appear out of nowhere to interrupt their conversations. So, tell us a little more about yourself, Mike. Where do you live? What does your dad do for work? Well, I lost my mom when I was too young to remember her, and I've basically lived with my nanny ever since. Dad comes around sometimes, but he spends a lot of time on business trips.
That must be rough. I mean, I also lost...
Why so busy? What exactly does he do? Mike's face seemed darkened, and Jasmine couldn't help but be a bit annoyed with Jaden's constant presence. She wasn't sure who was dating Mike anymore, but there were benefits to having Jaden around all the time. He seemed to be Jasmine's savior when it came to ordering food, as Mike had a terrifyingly strict diet and skincare routine. Is there anything quality on this menu? I can't eat any of these greasy, fried, fatty foods. No soda either. Only smoothies or sugar-free milk. I also go to the gym 4 times a week and spend the rest at a spa. You should come with me sometime.
Sure. That sounds cool.
In order to keep her girly image, Jasmine tried to delicately take a few bites of the salad and ignored her grumbling stomach. Luckily, Mike had to leave early, so once he was out of sight, Jaden slid his full plate of food over to Jasmine. Here, you could act in your natural habitat now.
Thank you so much.
As Jasmine began eagerly scarfing down his food, Jaden reached for Mike's unfinished drink and took a sip.
What the heck is this poison? I should have you know that was the only thing Mike found acceptable on the menu. A sugar-free kale smoothie.
Ick. No wonder he couldn't even finish it. Then they had a great evening talking and dining on deliciously greasy, fried, fatty foods. As they were walking back home, Jasmine twisted her ankle, still not used to wearing high heels. Without thinking, Jaden quickly piggybacked Jasmine and continued walking. Comfortable quietness fell over them. Becoming self-conscious, Jasmine broke the silence.
Am I, too heavy for you?
Actually, yeah, next time, cut down on the chicken before twisting an ankle.
How dare you!
I'm kidding. You're fine. You're not heavy at all. I mean, maybe a little.
Oh, shut up, you jerk! The two shared their cheerful laughter under the streetlights.
Meanwhile, after seeing Jasmine and Mike together, Tiffany threw a tantrum and thought to herself she wouldn't let them off that easily. One day, when Jasmine and Mike were discussing where to go out next time, Jaden immediately seized the chance. Let's go to Mike's house! Come on! Alrighty then, my house it is. Let's go. When they arrived, Jaden couldn't stop admiring the house and looked everywhere, but only God knew he was just looking for clues. Staying fully in character, Jaden touched a little bit of everything, clinging on to Mike and gushing over everything. This house is beautiful and huge. It must be awesome living basically by yourself with all this. Is your dad around by any chance? We'd love to meet him. Meanwhile, Jasmine was becoming a little uncomfortable with how obsessed with Mike Jaden seemed to be.
Is he gay? I mean, that's fine, but he could just say that.
Later, when the two of them were alone, Jasmine figured it was time to confront Jaden.
Hey, I was wondering, do you, have a crush on my boyfriend?
Jaden was dumbfounded for a second, and before he could think more about it, he slyly smiled and pressed Jasmine against the wall. What makes you think so? I'm into girls. Jasmine couldn't think straight with Jaden's face so close to hers. Want me to prove it to you? Flustered, she hurriedly pulled away, heart fluttering, blushing profusely.
I would like you to stop being a third wheel then. Thank you for helping me approach Mike and all, but now that we're dating, I would appreciate it if you could give us some space. Please.
Jaden was taken aback for a second, then calmly said, You're right. Sorry. I'll back off. Being the third wheel all this time hasn't gotten me any info on Mike's dad anyway. He really was laying low, and maybe Mike didn't even know anything about what his father was doing. The FBI might need to find another way to approach this investigation. Little did Jaden know, Jasmine had become an unexpected factor in his investigation plan. Jaden was taken aback for a second, then calmly said, You're right. Sorry. I'll back off. Being the third wheel all this time hasn't gotten me any info on Mike's dad anyway. He really was laying low, and maybe Mike didn't even know anything about what his father was doing. The FBI might need to find another way to approach this investigation. Little did Jaden know, Jasmine had become an unexpected factor in his investigation plan. After that time, Jasmine and Mike had private dates, just the two of them, but they left Jasmine feeling more and more distant from him.
Why does this wig have to be so long? And these freaking shoes! Why do girls want to torture themselves with these things?
Jasmine thought about the last time she was with Jaden, how she could just remove the stupid heels and enjoy being carried by him. But of course, that could never happen in front of Mike.
Jaden has kept his promise and leaves us two alone, but why do I feel like something is missing?
You look really beautiful today. That necklace is divine.
Yeah, I got it from my dad's antique cabinet this morning. Guess it once belonged to some ancient Egyptian queen. My dad has a bunch of these.
Oh, really? How come?
Well, he developed a very deep passion for collecting antiques and has filled our whole house with all kinds of stuff.
Interesting.
Just then, Mike knew exactly what to do with rich and naive Jasmine while she's still totally oblivious to it.
That night, Jasmine struggled to fall asleep. She wondered how Jaden could just disappear into thin air like that.
Fine. Don't let me see you again. I'll make you watch me eat 10 buckets of fried chicken and then force you to run 10 laps while carrying me.
Jasmine didn't realize, however, that behind her inexplicable frustration toward Jaden, she actually missed him. The next day, as soon as Jasmine arrived at school, Mike approached her urgently. Have I mentioned that I'm turning 16 this weekend?
No, you haven't. Any special plans for your big day then?
Yes, actually. That's why I came to find you. I wanted to make sure you had enough time to put together the most stunning outfit, 'cause I'd like you to meet my father there. You must make a good impression on him.
Wow. I'm gonna need to think about it, okay? After that, Jasmine looked everywhere for Jaden but couldn't find any trace of him. Jaden, where on earth have you been?
That evening, while Jaden was discussing the current situation with his partner, he was surprised to see Jasmine's figure at the door. How did she find her way here?
How dare you go AWOL for the past few days? Do you realize how many excuses I needed to give the student supervisor just to get your address?
Then Jasmine began to tell Jaden about her latest date with Mike, how she felt that Mike was not the right match for her, and that Mike wanted to introduce her to his father at Mike's birthday party.
I think I need to break things off before any family gets involved.
However, after the FBI team hit a dead end because they couldn't get any intel, Jaden realized this party was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them to catch the thief. Wait, you can't give up so soon. You were so determined to win Mike over before. Don't just dump him over cold feet. At least wait until after the party to make your decision.
Yeah, you're right. I'll go to the party.
After that, Jasmine left. She was trying not to feel the sadness building inside her, but the night that she and Jaden nearly kissed played on repeat in her head.
Would things be different if I just confessed my feelings to Jaden? I should let him know how I feel about him.
So Jasmine headed back to Jaden's place. When she was almost there, she saw him seeing someone off.
Huh? There was another person at his house? Why didn't I see him just then?
Jasmine quickly hid behind a wall, out of sight. That party is surely our golden ticket, and we thought you going undercover as Jaden and giving that dude a makeover was all in vain. He's she, and her name is Jasmine. Oh, did someone catch feelings? Don't forget that you're an FBI agent, James. Jaden, that is. Jasmine couldn't believe what she just heard and saw. When the man left, she stormed right over to Jaden.
When were you going to tell me about your double life, James?
I wish I could tell you everything, but I really can't. But I won't deny what you did here. I'm an FBI agent, and I've been undercover as a high school student to follow Mike. Jasmine, please listen to me. I'll tell you everything when the right time comes.
So I was just a tool that you used to get closer to Mike. And since that didn't work, you're done with me?
No, that's not.
And why Mike? What do you need from him?
I can't tell you anything else right now. But please just be careful around him, okay? He's not as nice as he tries to seem. I'm going to send FBI agents to keep an eye on you at the party.
No, you will not. You won't do anything because you and the FBI are going to leave me alone.
Jasmine, please. As much as it hurt to look at him again, Jasmine turned back around.
My friends call me Gucci, but I guess you wouldn't know.
While Jasmine was still mad at Jaden, she couldn't help questioning why the FBI had to send people to follow Mike. Suddenly, she remembered the overheard conversation. That party was surely our golden ticket, and we thought you going undercover as Jaden and giving that dude a makeover was all in vain.
Maybe I could find the answer at Mike's birthday party.
In the following days, Jaden relentlessly tried in every way to make amends with Jasmine. He messaged her on every social platform, from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter, and she blocked him on each one. He flew paper planes that read, "I'm sorry," into Jasmine's room, but she just stared coldly at him through the window while tearing the planes all up and throwing them in the trash. One morning, Jasmine woke up and even found a dove delivering Jaden's apology letter, but she completely ignored it still. Mike's birthday party finally came.
Why do I feel so unsettled? Maybe it was because of Gary's hamburger this afternoon?
Meanwhile, Mike was also lost in his own thoughts. Will Dad be able to get on with the plan? I wonder what disguise he'll show up in. Right then, Tiffany approached them.
Mike, I have a present for you.
Mike opened the envelope to find pictures of Jasmine from when she was a tomboy.
I just wanted to remind you of the person you're really dating.
I don't care about who she was before, because I love who she is now. My amazing girlfriend. Jasmine felt partly appreciative of Mike's feelings for her, but she was also exhausted from the pressure of trying to be someone she wasn't.
If only you knew that this isn't the real me.
As they walked away, Mike leaned in close and whispered in Jasmine's ear, "Let's go meet my dad, privately." Jasmine followed Mike to the rooftop, but she saw nobody when they got there.
Where is he?
Just be patient. He always shows up on time. At that moment, a kind-looking old man appeared. Jasmine looked around in confusion, wondering where he had come from. Before she could introduce herself, he started to speak. "So you must be the lovely Jasmine. Mike has told me so much about you. I heard your father is a famous collector of antiquities."
Yes. You know my dad?
I know he has something that's truly coveted. Jasmine had no idea what he was talking about. She turned to Mike and saw him mouthing, "It's you. Come here, girl. I have a gift for you. A diamond ring that's perfect for your delicate hands." Jasmine hesitated, but somehow she found herself slowly reaching out her hand. Just before her hand could reach his, there was a rustling sound. "Rat!" Suddenly, there was a loud explosion and smoke filled the air. Jasmine fell to the ground, unconscious. Jaden rushed in and saw Mike's father disappear into the smoke as they fled. His head told him to chase them, but seeing Jasmine lying on the ground, he immediately ran to Jasmine and carried her out of there. Jasmine woke up and saw her dad and 3 brothers anxiously standing around. Through their accounts, she knew that an anonymous message had been sent to her father last night, demanding he hand over a precious necklace in exchange for Jasmine. The police confirmed that the sender of that threatening message is a career thief. But I wonder how he knew our family had that necklace. Jasmine recalled wearing that necklace to see Mike and revealing to him that her dad was an antique collector. Could that very thief be... Remember, he's been doing this for a long time. They call him the Phantom Thief. Surely he has a talent for sniffing out valuable items and evading the police. Unfortunately, it's the same this time. Actually, that young police officer could have caught him, but he chose to save your sister. Our family owes him big time.
Is that young police officer Jaden? Later, Jaden came to visit Jasmine at the hospital. Can you tell me the truth now? Is the FBI chasing a career criminal who is none other than Mike's dad?
You're right, because he works in mysterious ways. I had to approach him through his son, Mike.
So why didn't you arrest him when you had the chance? Weren't you just waiting for that moment?
Because you were in danger. At that moment, I could only think about getting to you.
All right, I'll give you that one. Can you tell me what you found out? Maybe I can help.
Then Jaden told Jasmine that through spying on Mike, he discovered that Mike was his father's informant. Mike would scour rich girls, then point out the targets to his father who'd steal their valuables. That's why Mike had targeted Tiffany before. But as soon as he learned she was a fake rich girl and Jasmine was the real deal, he switched his focus to Jasmine. I am so sorry I kept the truth from you for so long. I really care about you, and I was trying to keep you from getting hurt. And you did anyway. I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me.
You did save my life after all. I think we can call it square. So, what's our next move then?
I really don't know.
I might have an idea.
Elsewhere, Mike and his dad were scheming. I didn't expect that sissy Jaden to be in the FBI. Don't worry, I know how to deal with him.
The next day, reports of an antique auction flooded the news.
A once-in-a-lifetime exhibition, all from one man's private collection, will be auctioned to the highest bidder. The collection includes antiquities from all over the world, including a necklace said to belong to Cleopatra. Its estimated value is over $100 billion.
The streets were also plastered with billboards and banners about that auction.
In the evening of the auction, all VIPs of the upper class gathered in the hotel's main lobby to prepare for the big event. In addition, hundreds of security guards and police officers were hired to guard the auction jewelry 24/7. Before the start of the auction, Jasmine's dad gave a welcome speech to all the guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to welcome you all to today's event. As you know, I collect antiques as a hobby, so to share some of the joy this collection has brought me, the profits from today's auction will be donated to the orphanage. Sir, is it true that Cleopatra's necklace will also be auctioned today? That's right. However, it's not here. It's currently being kept in a very secure place that even a mosquito couldn't get through, and will be presented during the final round. Aren't you afraid that the Phantom Thief, Master of Disguise, will steal it? Well, he can certainly try me. The whole crowd burst into laughter. Without knowing, from a corner, an elegant lady was watching them all with a smirk on her face. At 9 o'clock sharp, while the sounds of the auction echoed through the hotel's halls, someone in a black shirt and wearing a backpack appeared at the door, trying to put a key in the lock. Freeze! Hands over your head! Busted, you thief! I'm not...
In the lobby, chaos reigned after it became known that the Phantom Thief had approached the treasure.
Jasmine was extremely nervous too. Before long, a police officer went onto the stage. Please don't worry, the thief was apprehended by the police while trying to open the door. The auction will continue as scheduled. Everyone felt relieved, and the room erupted into applause. At that moment, the elegant yet mysterious lady walked toward the elevator quietly, heading to the penthouse. She then swiftly snuck into the room and retrieved the necklace with ease. Those stupid cops must be bringing that fool down to the station right now. She then put the box into her bag and left the room. Suddenly, an old janitor bumped into her. I'm terribly sorry, miss. The elegant lady grumbled, then used the emergency exit to rush up to the rooftop. On the roof, a helicopter was already waiting, with Mike inside. Mike's dad quickly gave him the necklace. Just when the helicopter took off, policemen came rushing to catch him. "We finally got you weasel! Ha ha! I've still got the necklace. I win again, you fools. Oh, you mean this necklace? What? How could you?" It turned out that Jaden had swapped the box when they bumped into each other in the hall. Upon this admission, in the helicopter, Mike eagerly opened the box, which turned out to be just a jumping jack toy. No! After the police took Mike's dad away, Jasmine and her dad rushed to Jaden. "Thank you so much for saving my daughter and still catching the thief."
Thank you for all your help. We couldn't have caught him if you didn't fabricate this event.
This whole thing was Jasmine's idea, and the event itself was fake. All the antiques auctioned tonight were real, and those proceeds will still go to charity.
We did it.
You're right. We did it. Whatever happened with the other thief who got caught earlier? Oh, he was hired to distract the FBI, but we knew from the start he wasn't our thief. Luckily, the arrest announcement was just the thing we needed to get Mike's dad to make his move and to make him think he was going to get away with it. Now I just need to know how you switched those boxes so smoothly. Are you a magician too? Nope, I'm just me. The next day, Jaden finally had some time alone with Jasmine, and it was finally time to tell her the rest of everything. It might not be my place to say, but I understand how you've been feeling. Trying to be someone? Heck, it's my job. But it's not your job to change to make other people like you. The right people are the ones who love you for who you really are. People like, me. Jasmine was touched. She had so many things she wanted to say, but she was simply speechless. She turned to Jaden, and upon seeing just his site profile, she blushed. Are you okay? Jasmine was going to respond, but she hiccuped again.
I think I know what to do.
Hi, I'm Nuella. I was raised by a single mom alongside my twin sister, Nancy. Mom was the CEO of a beauty company she managed to establish after our soldier dad passed away and was obsessed with making us look our best to attract customers. But Mom just didn't understand that I wasn't a fan of plastering my face with makeup. Even body lotions made me feel like a slippery eel. My sister Nancy, on the other hand, was a beauty enthusiast, just like Mom. Like one time when I was 13, Mom broke a whole crate of eggs just to use as a face mask. All right, girls, it's face pamper time. While she was busy applying the yucky stuff all over Nancy's face, I snuck off to the kitchen and scrambled the rest. Mom then showed up with Nancy in their ridiculous masks. It's your turn, Nuella. You fried them. Well, a glowing stomach is better than a glowing face, Mom. But it makes you prettier. Makes your skin glow. Listen here, Nuella. I don't know what your deal is reading stupid books all the time. Blasphemy! Books are life, Mom. And I told you I want to be a novelist. A novelist? Do you want to be broke forever? It's the most useless job ever. That's right. All you need to do is invest in yourself to look pretty, and a rich man will surely sweep you off your feet. Why can't you be more like Nancy? How about trying to educate yourself and make your own money instead of waiting for Mr. Moneybags? Writing stories was my jam. Creating worlds in my head and birthing characters gave me more joy than anything. And Mom thought I was kidding until our 18th birthday. All right, make a wish. I'll grant it. I wish for a change of wardrobe. Done. And you, Nuella? I wish to be a full-time writer, Mom, just like Stephen King or J.K. Rowling. Ha! Sorry, Nuella, but that wish is never coming true. You're running my business, and that's final. How can you decide my life for me? At least Nancy's got her beauty. She can snag a rich man. But you're not as pretty. I'm just looking out for you. That hurt. Mom, I'm an adult. Seeing that I wasn't willing to budge, Mom turned icy on me. She made me pay house bills, and unable to bear it, I moved out. But being a writer wasn't all that rosy. No one wanted to publish my book. And at home, things became way too tough. I couldn't even afford a proper meal after already having lost my electricity in the house. I didn't even have any choice but to find a part-time job so I could support myself. I got hired as a cashier at Eggers Market, a billion-dollar chain store across the country. And that was how I met Keith, a fellow cashier. Sweet guy, but... Hey, Nuella, maybe this weekend we can, I don't know, go to the arcade? Thank you. I mean, I'm not a game person. Sorry. Next time. Bye. I like hanging out with Keith too, but with my life messier than a spaghetti explosion, dating was not on my menu. Missing my family intensified as Christmas approached. Then, one evening, out of the blue, Mom called to spill the beans that Nancy was tying the knot. She wanted the family together for Christmas, one last time before the big day. I was excited to see them again. Little did I know the life-changing drama that lay ahead for me. On my way to catch a cab for the ride to Mom's house, I smacked into a guy. Get out of the way, little girl. I caught a glimpse of a snake tattoo on his arm. Totally freaked me out. Those guys just robbed one of Edgar's market stores. Are you okay? What? Which one? The one on Broadway. It's like someone is targeting Edgar. True that. It wasn't the first time Edgar's stores had been robbed. I prayed the one I worked at never became a victim. In minutes, I was knocking on her front door, and that's when Nancy and her boyfriend arrived. Before I could even say a greeting, Mom swung the door open and zeroed in on Nancy as if I were invisible. Nancy, my baby, I missed you. Is this your car? That's Ryan's car, Mom. No way! Hi, Ryan. Welcome to the family. Come on in. You must be tired from driving. Mom hadn't even acknowledged my presence. Once inside, I forced aside the small jab of jealousy to catch up with Nancy. Nancy, you look good. Thanks. How about you? Are you Stephen King or something now? I hope it's something bigger than the family's business. Well, I got a well-paying job at Panda Publishing Company. What? That's like one of the biggest publishing companies in the States. Why didn't you tell me when I called? It's a Christmas surprise. Oh, Noella, I'm so happy. I got this for you, Mom. Can we go eat? I'm hungry. Okay, don't judge me for lying. Nancy was practically oppressing me with her achievements. While we were having lunch, Mom began asking Ryan questions like he was in a job interview. So, Nancy says you come from a really big family? Yeah, my dad is Edgar, you know, the CEO of Edgar's Market. At that bombshell, my mouth rejected the food in it. Noella, are you okay? Drink water quick. I'm okay, Mom. Goodness gracious. Ryan was the CEO's son? The big boss of the company I worked at? He doesn't seem to recognize me, though. It makes sense because we've never crossed paths because my department was in the basement of the organizational hierarchy. But now how could I go to work with him under the same roof without getting busted? I spent most of that night thinking of a solution. And before morning, I had a master plan in place. And the plan first started with Keith ringing our doorbell. Hello, is Lady Noella in? I'm Keith, her chauffeur. Chauffeur? Oh, I see you met my driver. Just one of the many perks working at Panda Publishing. See ya. As soon as we left the house, I changed into my work clothes. Keith, you're a lifesaver. What's with all this drama? What's wrong with telling them you're a cashier? You won't understand. I can't let Nancy have the upper hand all the time. She has everything going well in her life, and I have nothing. You have me, Noella. Do you want to get a coffee quick? Sure. That same day, we were busy at work when Ryan strolled in acting all bossy to everyone. Quick, Keith, cover me. What's going on? It's just the CEO's son. He's the one Nancy is dating. If he spots me, he'll blow my cover. Are you sure he's dating Nancy? Because he's with our manager right now. Ryan was two-timing my sister with our manager? I peered over the counter, and that's when I saw Ryan cornering Katie the blondie. I approached the shelf where Ryan was, pretending to rearrange while eavesdropping. Starlight in, 8 p.m. Don't be late, handsome. So this guy was three-timing my sister, the manager, and Katie? I was so shocked I almost busted my cover, but I escaped before I could be seen. I rushed home to tell Nancy. Nancy, Ryan is a womanizer. I saw him with a girl. You saw him? Where? How? Are you stalking my fiancé? No, Shoot, I couldn't tell her I worked for his family's company. I heard people say bad stuff about him, you know, really bad stuff. Listening to rumors, are we? You should know better than that. I bet her jealousy didn't let her think straight. Instead of being happy for me, you're busy snooping around desperate for dirt on my fiancé. Really, Noella? If I knew you would ruin the spirit of Christmas for all of us, I wouldn't have invited you. Apologize now. No way! He's a snake. I swear, keep your mouth shut. If you continue with any of this nonsense, you'd better pack your things out of here. Now get out. It was like the floor was torn from beneath me. I felt rejected, and then Ryan came and showed me my work ID. How did you get it? So, you work at Edgar's store? What happened to Panda Publishing? None of your business! Get out! You have some guts calling me out when you're such a faker yourself. Pull that stunt again, and I'm telling everyone that you're just a lowly cashier. Chuckling evilly, Ryan walks off. Trapped and trying to ease the tension, I apologized to Ryan and Nancy, giving Ryan the benefit of the doubt. But that night, he threw my doubts back at my face while I was washing dishes.
Look, I know why you're so frowny.
I apologized. Now get off of me.
But you got the hots for me, huh? If it eases your vibe, I'm into you too. You're so unique. Let's go out. Nancy won't know.
I resisted the urge to smack him with a pot. It was official. He was a scumbag, and Nancy needed to know. So I decided to play along. Perhaps I could implicate him and show Nancy evidence of his evilness. Oh, Ryan, how did you know? Since I set my eyes on you, I've been dreaming about us.
Then let's go out tomorrow night. I'll text you the address.
Bingo. And that's how I found myself dressing up for a date after work the next day.
Whoa, you look dashing. Where are you off to?
Keith's compliment had butterflies fluttering in my stomach. For the first time in a while, I felt beautiful. Thanks. I'm going out.
Out? Like a date?
Yes, with Ryan. Let me explain. I told Keith everything I planned, but nothing I said made sense to him.
This is risky. What if Ryan wants to hurt you?
I'll be fine and ready to take that jerk down. I got to the restaurant early, but I spotted Ryan with the guy I recognized as one of Edgar's store robbers. Same build, same snake tattoo. Intrigued and concerned, I discreetly approached, phone recorder ready.
Tell the boys. We hit the one on New City Street tonight. That old man Edgar dared to mess with me. Let's see how he likes his stores raided. Yes, boss. We will be ready.
Ryan hired these gangsters to rob his own stores? This guy's a psychopath.
Nuella, baby, you look great.
Unlike Keith, Ryan's compliment made my skin crawl, and his hug made my stomach churn. You're robbing your father's store? Was that also your doings, having the store on Broadway robbed the other day?
It's my future store. Consider it taking an advanced paycheck. You won't tell. You know what's at stake.
Too bad for you. Right now, I think my sister's safety is more important than my pride. Ryan tried to grab me, but I bit his arm and ran away, leaving him cradling it in pain. I raced home to spill the beans about Ryan. Nancy, Ryan is... But I was greeted by a hot slap. That's for trying to steal my man. What? I wasn't... My friend saw you at a restaurant with him. I was just faking it.
You know what else? I called Panda Publishing today, but they said there was no one by the name Nuella working there. Turned out you're working at a store as a cashier?
Yes, I did, and I'm really sorry. But look, Ryan is dangerous. He works with a gang that robs his father's stores.
How can we trust you? If you can lie about your job, you could lie about anything else too. Why do you keep disappointing me?
Their palpable disappointment felt like the world crashed on my shoulders. There was only one person left to turn to. I'm going to meet his dad to expose him. I have a recording of him admitting the crime. He will regret messing with me.
I'm not sure that's a good idea since he knows you know. Let's think of something less dangerous. I'll grab you something to calm down, okay?
While he went to fetch me the calming thing, I couldn't wait, so I sneaked out and headed straight to Edgar's headquarters. Hello, I would like to meet the CEO of Edgar. It's urgent. Someone is planning to rob his store. I have evidence.
Evidence, huh? Come with me.
The security guard led me to an elevator. Then we stopped in front of a room.
Boss, someone's here to see the CEO for the robbery of the stores. She has evidence.
The door opened, and instead of Ryan's dad, I was looking at Ryan? I tried to run, but they caught me and pushed me in. I was so scared. I should have listened to Keith.
You little witch! Because of you, Nancy dumped me, and now you're reporting to my dad. How dare you?
She made the right choice. You're the furthest thing from boyfriend material. The manic look in Ryan's eyes told me I was a goner. But suddenly, Keith burst in like a superhero with 2 policemen and saved the day.
Freeze! The police! Are you okay?
I nodded and hugged Keith in relief. His broad shoulders calmed me down, and I knew I was safe.
You might as well swap your ears for something else.
Sorry.
You never listen. Always so impatient.
I know. Yada yada yada.
Why are you so stubborn?
I shut him up with a kiss, and it felt so right. Turned out, Ryan's dad had kicked him out before because of his prodigal habits. But instead of turning over a new leaf, Ryan formed a gang targeting his dad's stores. Now, Edgar planned to give him a taste of jail to cool off. News of my heroic escapade spread like wildfire, reaching my family before I could even get home. The moment I stepped into the house, Mom and Nancy hugged me like I'd been away for a year.
I am so sorry for misjudging you all this time. You were just looking out for me, but I was so shocked and heartbroken I got mad at you when actually Ryan was the jerk all along. I love you, sis.
And I'm so sorry for lying. I just wanted Mom to be proud of me too.
But I'm proud of you, Nuella. After the hardship I suffered losing your dad, money became the paramount thing in my life. I thought it was all there is to happiness, so I pushed you guys to get it. But now, I realize I was wrong. Imagine if Nancy never married Ryan. How unhappy she'd have been. Whether you're a cashier or Stephen King, I don't care. I just want you girls to be happy. Merry Christmas, my love. It was the best moment of my life. Finally, we could understand each other. Our reconciliation had to be a good luck charm, because on Christmas Eve, I got a call from a movie producer who wanted to adapt my novel to a movie. The contract was gonna pay millions. Finally, I was making my big break as an author. We celebrated that special Christmas with a big feast. And boy was my mom and Nancy surprised when Keith showed up. What's your chauffeur doing here? Chauffeur? No, everyone meet Keith, my boyfriend, who, by the way, was just promoted to the overall manager of Edgar's Market. Yep, that had been decided by Edgar, the CEO. Welcome to the family, Keith.
What's up, guys? I'm Avery from Queens, and over there is my mom. Not to brag, but she is a real-life superhero. Have you ever seen any single mom who had to work 3 jobs and only sleep for 4 hours a day, but still is always cheerful like that? Avery, darling, come see. I got the dress you wanted. Really? But it costs a whole week of your salary. Don't worry about that, dear. If it makes you happy, then it's totally worth it. Thank you so much. Let's do a play. Yes, you'll be a perfect Cinderella. My mother and I always had the most fun together. Doing role plays and scrapbooking were our favorite things. Although she usually fell asleep on the couch before we finished any activities, she was still the best mom I could ever ask for. There was nothing that could separate us. Ever. Until that day. I got home from school and my mom wasn't there yet, so I took a nap while waiting for her. But when I woke up, the whole house was in chaos. And there was so much smoke fumes that I barely saw a man approaching.
I found the child. Evacuate now.
What? What is happening? Where is my mother? I managed to grab my scrapbook before we went outside, and I saw Mom looking so distraught. Avery! Oh my God, I am so sorry, baby. What is going on? Why are you in handcuffs? Mom? Mom! I kicked and screamed, but the policeman didn't let me go. I helplessly watched as my mother was led into a van while our home burnt to ashes. Then they sent a social worker to come and get me. Why is my mother getting arrested? For child endangerment and neglect. Look at your house. She caused the fire. No! She probably just fell asleep while cooking. She must be too tired from all the work. She is not a bad mom, please. I am sorry, darling, but that is not for me to say. The judge will decide, and in the meantime, we'll put you in foster care. Don't worry, I have the perfect home for you. You will love it there. Ugh, this is so unfair. My mother was sleeping in a cell just because she wanted to make food for me? I'd rather be with her right now than wherever this car is taking me. We're here. I got out of the car to see a huge mansion. It's like I just stepped into a palace. And the bigger surprise was the foster parents waiting for me. The Smiths. They were one of the biggest couples in Hollywood, who always appeared on TV for their good deeds and the happy foster home they built for children. Time magazine called them the kindest hearts in the country. But if they thought putting me in a nice house would make me stop fighting for my mom, they were dead wrong. Nice to meet you, Avery. We're so sorry about what happened and promise that you will be well taken care of in our home. Hello, Avery. Aren't you a lovely girl? You can call me Mom. I will not. I have a mom. Right. Look, I understand that this is difficult, but why does it have to be difficult? My mother only made a mistake. Why can't I be with her? She's better than all of you. Whoa, calm down. Don't say that before meeting our kids. They're wonderful. I turned to see 3 children there. They all looked quiet and shy, except this girl.
Hello, my name is Desi. Welcome to our home. That's Martin, and the little cutie over there is Ryan. And of course, Miss Helen, our nanny. We're very happy to have you here with us.
We will let you guys get to know each other. We have some business to handle right now. See you later.
When the Smiths left with the social worker, the air in the room changed. I could tell the kids felt happier and more relaxed. Desi kept talking nonstop. Martin cracked his first smiles, while little Ryan ran into Nanny Helen's arm, and she held him so gently that it made me miss my mom so bad. They looked like a real family, and I was just an outsider. Finally, Helen took me to my room, and I could only hold my tears until she wished me good night and closed the door. I cried so hard that night, feeling so lonely and miserable that I couldn't sleep. No, I can't stay here. I need my mom. So, the next morning, I got an idea. I looked at my beautifully decorated room and started to rip it apart. Surely, if the Smiths saw how disobedient I was, they would send me away, back to my mom, right? When I was done, I opened the door to find the kids and Nanny Helen standing there in shock. What are you looking at? Go on, tell your parents that I'm a monster. You all right? You didn't accidentally hurt yourself, did you?
It's okay, Avery. Let us help you clean this up. You can wait here. It won't take long.
No! Why are they acting like that? They're supposed to be mad. Instead, they quickly cleaned everything and got new furniture from the garage to replace the ones I broke. And in minutes, the room was as good as new. If you don't like this room, you can move to another one. Jeez, this plan didn't go as I expected at all. No worries. I still had a lot up my sleeves. So I kept throwing tantrums here and there, spicing up their food, messing with their drinks, hiding their stuff, but nothing worked. They always forgave me, helped me, protected me. No matter what I did, they still said, "It's okay. We got your back. We're here for you." What's wrong with them? If my shenanigans wouldn't work, I would never escape this house. I guess I had to act up right in front of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, so they would kick me out immediately. But easier said than done. They were rarely home. So right the next time they returned with a beautiful vase, I seized my opportunity. When nobody was around, I gave the vase a little push, and it stumbled off. A crashing sound jarred. Then the Smiths rushed to the scene. "Oh gosh, what happened?" Before I opened my mouth, Martin jumped in and said, "I'm sorry, it's my fault. I just wanted to admire it, but accidentally dropped it." "No! Why do you say that? I did it!" Right then, Desi and Ryan also joined in and took the blame for the shattered vase, making the situation even messier. "Enough! Do you know how much this vase cost? You ungrateful peasants. I fed you, clothed you, and you smashed my precious vase, which is more valuable than all of your lives. We should have left you to rot in your stupid orphanages." "Please, they're just children." "Shut up! I hired you to keep an eye on those rats, so this is on you too." Then the Smiths pulled Nanny Helen into their private room, but I could still hear them arguing, and Helen's pleading. I was totally shocked to see how rude and cruel the Smiths were. Finally, they decided the damage would be deducted monthly from Helen's wages, which also came from the fostering allowances, and God knows for how long. When I turned around, the kids had already cleaned the broken pieces on the floor with the saddest faces ever. I thought they would be angry at me, but they just gave me disappointed looks, then returned to their room. That night, I tossed and turned. I didn't mean for things to go this far, and make Nanny Helen pay for my guilt. But how could I fix it? Those kids were very close to Helen. Maybe they would have some idea. So, for the first time, I went to Desi's room and found all the kids were there. "Hi, guys."
Go away. You hurt Nanny. You hurt us.
"I am so sorry. I didn't know the Smiths were so harsh. I just want them to send me back to my mom."
We know, Avery, but if you get kicked out of this house, they won't bring you back to your mother, but to another foster home, and they're all so much worse. Trust me, Martin and I were in the system for 4 years before we got here.
True, the Smiths are not very nice parents, but we have Helen who has a golden heart, and you can't find that anywhere else. We don't want you to endure injustice, neglect, and discrimination like we did in past years. Gosh, I couldn't imagine how much they went through, yet all I did was bring them trouble. Talking about Helen, she shouldn't be punished for my act. How can I help her out?
That's hard. She didn't get much from this job, you know, and this fine added more burden on her.
Yeah, the Smiths are very strict about anything related to finance. I don't even think they give Helen a fair amount to take care of us, because she always struggles and sometimes has to pay out of her pocket to give us food.
I can't believe it. The Smiths are rich. If they don't care about us, why do they become foster parents? It's a gig that makes them look good in the media and gives them more money.
Who would say no to that? Then we spent the whole night talking, and I gradually realized these kids were no different than me. They also desired love and care from their parents, from family. So I told them about my mother and showed them my scrapbook. All of these memories seemed to relive in front of me while I was talking, and by the time I was finished, we all had tears in our eyes.
I am sure there's a way to help you get back with your mom. We will figure it out together.
The next day, Mr. and Mrs. Smith suddenly wanted to take us out for a meal. Nanny Helen prepared the best clothes for us and waved us goodbye while we stepped into the Smiths' luxury car to go to the biggest restaurant in town.
This is for our parents' promo campaign. We do this once a month.
Remember the $5 rule, children. We won't pay any more than that. So think carefully before you order and behave. Wow, how generous they are. I can totally see where the title, "The Kindest Hearts in the Country," came from. We arrived at the restaurant and sat down at a large reserve table with cameras everywhere.
Come, my little angels. Ryan, come sit with Daddy.
That's it. This phony act was unbearable. If I want to help these kids and Nanny Helen, this was my chance. So when the staff came to take orders, I loudly said,
I want a hamburger, this chicken nuggets, and that sundae.
Darling, you can't eat that much. Remember our rule?
Well, you said you won't pay more than $5 for us, but all those dishes are only $4.
Look how awkward the Smiths were in front of the confused staff. My trick was definitely working. Oh, okay. Anything you want.
What are you doing? You'll be punished.
As if I care. My play had just begun. Next, when all our food was served, I took the ketchup bottle and squeezed it with all my might. The paste spurted out and landed straight on Mr. Smith's face.
Ouch! What the heck?
Everyone rushed to help him clean it, including some staff. Exactly my time to shine.
I'm sorry, Dad. I just wanted to draw a flower on my dish to dedicate to you. You took me in at my worst time, and I can't thank you enough.
Of course. That's what I should do.
Aw, she's so sweet.
Yeah, you can't be mad at her.
So let me give you a proper thanks. Thank you for giving us a house to live in, though you're never home to check on us. Thank you for cutting down our nanny's payment to get more money to take us out for this meal. And thank you that you didn't punish me for breaking your vase yesterday, because you made our poor nanny pay for it instead.
Stop this nonsense! You just want to mess with me, don't you? You're all just a tool for me to make money and improve my reputation. Why can't you act nicely?
Easy, dear. The camera's still on.
Doesn't matter. We can edit this footage out. Now I have to give this foolish girl a lesson.
Really? Can you edit those, too?
Little did he know. The fuss I made attracted so much attention that people started live streaming everything. Right that evening, many articles about how horrible the Smiths were came up. Because of their huge influence, the topic of bad foster home quickly became so heated that the government had to step in and review the entire system. The living condition in every foster home was improved, so many other foster children also benefited. The Smiths were so ashamed that they packed up and moved to Aruba and left the kids in the house with Helen with enough money so they didn't get called out again. I didn't expect things could go so well. Helen officially became the kids' foster mother, and I was so happy for them.
Thank you, Avery, for helping us out. We want to do something for you, too. The blast on the internet gives me an idea. What if we share your story online to get attention for your mom's case? If enough people care and sympathize with her, the court will have to look into it, too, and understand she's not a bad mom.
Wow, that's a brilliant idea. With Desi's help, my video with a scrapbook quickly went viral. And on the day of the trial, the courtroom was full of people who supported us. The verdict was finally announced.
And my mom walked free! Woohoo! This is the best day of my life.
We got our lives back together pretty quick because we received so much help. My mother and I got a huge deal to start a mother-daughter podcast, and I got to see Desi and Martin all the time, and at school too. And look,
isn't that our lovely Ryan?
I'm so excited as it's my graduation ceremony tomorrow. Eek! And today I'm on my way to the airport to pick my mom up. I can't wait to see her, but, well, it's complicated. I grew up in Philly, but I've been studying here in Toronto for the last 3 years. I'm so grateful to God for letting me be a girl because, girls' lives are way more colorful than boys' lives are. Clothes, makeup, shoes, you name it. For girls, it's just so much more fun. I understand I'm probably confusing you. Well, up until the age of 18, I lived life as a boy. Kai. Actually, Kai's my legal name. I grew up with toy trucks, dinosaur wallpaper, and a rocket-shaped playhouse. Then, at 2 years old, Mom moved into a villa out in the countryside. It was just us and our old maid Rita. Meanwhile, my father and grandparents stayed in the city and ran the family company together. Back then, all I knew was my family was rich and successful, but I didn't think much about it. Hey, I was just a kid. All I cared about was getting to choose what color tumbler I had my juice in. Mom always said we moved away because of her migraines, which worsened in hectic surroundings. Nonsense. She just wanted to keep me away from the family so they wouldn't figure out I was actually a girl. Crazy, huh? So I must have known I was a girl, right? The thing is, when you're little, you pretty much believe everything your mom tells you. So when she said I was a boy, then I had no reason to think otherwise. Still, I was drawn to girly things like a magpie was to anything shiny. For instance, I tried putting my mom's sparkly hair clips in my short hair, but Mom caught me, took them out, and told me they weren't for boys. Another time, when I was at a play date at this boy's house, I peered into his sister's room and saw all of the Barbies and dolls. Mesmerized, I took one and started playing with it, but then I heard him laughing at me, and he teased me that I was a boy and I shouldn't like gross things like dollies. I didn't like being teased, so after that, I tried to keep my liking for girly stuff to myself. I pretended to like action figures, aliens, and cars, but to be honest, I didn't care much for them at all. But the older I got, the harder it was for my mom to keep up the lie. The trickiest part being the school restrooms. To hide the secret, Mom told me the bathrooms at school were dirty, and if I used them, I'd end up with scaly green skin. So every day on the break, Rita would come and take me home to go to the toilet. At first, people at school thought this was weird, but then I guess they just put it down to odd things that rich people do. The other boys annoyed me. I didn't want to play football or run around the playground pretending to be a gladiator. Instead, I wanted to hula hoop with the girls and plait the manes of their toy ponies. So I did just that. One time, when I was waiting to get picked up from school, me and my friend were flicking through her girly magazine. Then suddenly, Mom stormed up to me and dragged me out of the girl zone. Then on the ride home, in a serious voice, she said, "Kai, boys have to play with boys. It's just the way it is." This sucked, as I didn't want to play with the boys, but I didn't want to upset my mom, so I stopped playing with the girls. From then onward, I mostly just sat by myself and read fairy tales about princesses and mermaids, which I disguised in the covers of boys' books. My mom must have realized how I felt, so she didn't want to risk me being around other girls, which is why at 11, she insisted I went to an all-boys school. That sucked, as I had never really gotten along with other boys, if not to say that I hated them. But then, during lunch on my first day at the new school, this boy called Kevin sat down next to me and passed me half of his candy bar. We became best friends after that, and even built a den together in the nearby woods. Hanging out with him were my happiest days, as in those moments I just felt free. Then one day during a biology class, the teacher passed us sheets with diagrams of boys' bodies. My body didn't look like that. Was there something wrong with me? Confused, I decided to confide in Kevin about this. He was also a boy, so he could help me, right? I held up the sheet and whispered to him, my body is different to this. Before Kevin even had a chance to answer, one of the other boys shouted out, "Kai's different from us, let's go check it out." Then, to my horror, some of them lifted me and started carrying me toward the bathroom. I was screaming at the top of my voice. Luckily, the teacher ran out into the hallway after me and demanded the boys put me down at once. My mom rushed to school ASAP to take me home, as she received a call from my teacher about the incident. She tried cheering me up with ice cream, but it didn't work. I was so upset and confused. "Mom, why am I different from other boys?" She gave a wounded look, sighed, then in a quiet voice said, "Before I tell you the truth, I need you to understand that I love you, Kai, and everything I do is to protect you." She hugged me close to her, then continued, "I was so desperate for a child, but after years of trying, it felt like it wasn't meant to be. Then I found out that your dad cheated on me with another woman, and she was pregnant with a boy." I stared at Mom with wide eyes, patiently waiting to hear what came next, because so far, nothing made sense. This was hard to bear, but just when I thought my heart would break, well, I fell pregnant with you. You have to understand, your father and grandparents have very old-fashioned mindsets on the company and having a male heir to inherit it. So, even though his mistress ended up having a baby girl, and your father agreed to fund them both only if they moved to Miami, I knew you'd never be respected in your father's eyes, not as a girl. That mistress of his would make sure their daughter came back and got everything over you. I just couldn't let that happen. So I lied to everyone that you were a boy. I know you're probably angry with me, and I don't blame you. But you can't tell your father the truth. You can't tell anyone the truth. Wow. So, I was a girl? Now everything started to fall into place. This explained a lot. But of course I was furious. I'd been forced to live a lie just to please my mom. It took a few days before I began to calm down and be more understanding. I guess things must have been really hard for her too. Also, I was kind of relieved I was actually a girl, as deep down I'd always felt a desire to wear pretty dresses and play with dolls. I told Mom this and said I loved being a girl. So she made a compromise with me. I'd continue living as Kai until I was 18, and then I would go and study abroad, as the girl I'd always dreamed of being. After that, I moved schools to keep up the secret. It sucked that I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to Kevin, but I was relieved to go to a co-ed school again. Mom said I could hang out with the other girls as long as I kept the secret. Then, when I started high school, things became more complicated. Firstly, my voice was naturally soft, so I had to put on this gruff voice, which would leave me with a sore throat by the end of the day. So I just became one of those kids who didn't say much. I had to spend ages each morning wrapping a bandage around my chest to flatten it, and then I hid beneath baggy t-shirts and sweaters. I also had to do this boy walk. Then there was the bathroom. I swear everyone thought I had bladder problems, as I was the kid who always asked to go to the bathroom mid-class to avoid the other boys. At least there's one good thing out of this was that I didn't have to deal with sweaty PE, as Mom had told the principal that I had a health problem, so I could stay out of these risky activities, especially swimming lessons. But the struggles would never stop. I often looked at the girls with their glossy lips and in their cute vest tops with envy. Oh, how I longed to be able to be who I wanted to be. Finally, high school finished, and true to her word, Mom sent me off to a college in Canada. She sorted all of the paperwork out for me. There, I changed my name to Leanna, and I started my new, exciting life as a girl. I love long, shiny mermaid hair, so I started wearing a wig. I watched so many YouTube videos on how to apply makeup, painted my nails, wore pretty outfits, and tried walking in heels. Okay, all of these things would take some practice, but it still felt amazing. I was finally free of my old fake life, and I could just be me. But I knew my family couldn't find out the truth, as it could have catastrophic effects for me and my mom. So I still had to dress and act like Kai again whenever I FaceTimed Dad or my grandparents. Time sure flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? I couldn't believe I was graduating tomorrow, and I was so grateful that Mom would be here to see it. When I picked her up from the airport, we both hugged and cried, then hugged some more. Through sobs, she blurted out, "Look at you! You look so different." "Thanks, Mom." I smiled and wiped her tears away. Luckily, Dad's workaholic, so he didn't even ask to come. Phew, as that would have been an awkward situation. As I wheeled Mom's suitcase out of the airport, she said to me, "We just need to take some photos of you graduating as Kai to show the rest of the family." I didn't want to be Kai on my special day, but I knew it was something that had to be done. So I forced a smile and said, "Sure, Mom, but let's do it where no one else can see us. I don't want my friends thinking I've gone crazy." The graduation ceremony was awesome. It felt so good to be up on that stage collecting my degree as my true self, glossy hair and all. Afterward, I took Mom to my favorite restaurant to continue the celebrations. As I twirled a piece of pasta around my fork, I said to her, "It feels so good to live life as a girl. I was thinking, I want to go back to Philadelphia and tell everyone the truth about who I am." My mom's face dropped, and then she said something totally unexpected. "You might think it's impossible to be two people at once. Yeah, I'm Liana, but I'm also Kai. Confused? Then I suggest you check out part 1 of my story. In short, my mom fooled everyone, including me, into thinking I'm a boy when actually I'm a girl, so my traditional-minded family wouldn't be lured into giving away my inheritance. Back in the restaurant, and I'd just shown my mom how I wanted to go back to Philly and tell my family the truth. "No," she shook her head. "You can't. It's not the right time." "But Mom, why? I don't want to lie anymore." "Stay here, and I'll tell your father you're doing a master's degree." Again with the lies. I'm sick of them. I just want to be me. I let out a frustrated sigh. "I know you do, but I don't want you losing out on your future." I gave her a quizzing look. "Come on, Mom, it wouldn't be that bad." "Honey, Diamond is back, and she's adamant to worm her way into the company." Oh no. This changed things. You see, Diamond's my sassy, ambitious half-sister. My father had her with his mistress. Now Diamond was back from her studies in Australia and eager to claim what she believed was hers. Ugh. Mom continued. "She's always snooping around the house, and her attitude is awful. It's only a matter of time before she refuses to leave. That's why I told you this was not an appropriate time to come out with the truth. Diamond would take advantage of it and turn everything into a bigger mess. Well, that was that. I had no choice but to stay in Canada. Ugh. On the plus side, at least I could be Liana here. Then one night, I just returned home from a party in my bodycon dress and heavy makeup when my phone buzzed. It was a video call from Mom. Hi, Mom. I popped myself down on my bed. Oh, that diamond is a piece of work. She used my Ralph Lauren trinket dish as an ashtray. Can you believe that? Oh, that's awful. Have you spoken to Dad about it? Right at that moment, I saw my father appear behind Mom, and he asked her if she was talking to Kai. Startled, I immediately took off my wig, wiped my lips onto the back of my hand, pulled off my eyelashes, and wrapped a blanket around me so he couldn't see my dress. I reappeared on screen with a forced smile and lowered my voice to say, Hi, Dad. He coldly asked, Why is your face so dirty? Nothing. Your mother and I are to attend an important corporate event this weekend, and I want you to come with us. It will be a good experience for you. Be home by Saturday. When my father demands something, well, then there's absolutely 0 point in questioning him about it, so it looks like Kai was going back to Philadelphia. That weekend, I packed my bags and transformed myself back into Kai. Jeez, I'd forgotten how much it sucked having to wear these unflattering clothes. Mom was there to pick me up at the airport. She rushed over to me and gushed, Look at you. My daughter is so handsome. I have to admit that I was really nervous on the way home. By the time the grand house came into view, I felt like I was going to barf. I hadn't been Kai properly in years. What if I messed up, and then Dad disowned both me and Mom? Mom must have sensed how I was feeling, as she took my hand and led me inside. My father was sitting on the edge of the couch with a black coffee and a ton of paperwork in front of him. Hi, Dad. Mom elbowed me, so I coughed to clear my throat, then in a male voice said, Hi, Dad. Your son is back. Yes. Hello, Dad replied, his attention still on his paperwork. Phew. It seemed that he hadn't noticed my voice mishap. After that, I went up to my room, freshened up and changed into my suit. I sprayed myself with cologne, as smelling like a guy might make me act more like one, right? Later on, my father drove us to the event. He wouldn't stop going on about people he wanted to impress and contracts he was after. So without thinking, I grabbed my mom's purse and pulled out her compact mirror and lipstick. I pouted my lips and was about to put it on when I saw my dad glaring at me in the rearview mirror. It's just lip balm. The flight really dried them out. I licked my lips as I quickly dropped the items back into Mom's purse. Mom peered back at me with a be careful look. The event was hard work. Having to be Kai in front of all these bigwigs took it out of me. So by the time we arrived home, I was ready to sleep for a week. Daddy, I'm so glad you're back. How was your event? A girl suddenly rushed out of nowhere and wrapped her arms around my father. Oh, hi, Mrs. Wilson. And you must be my half-brother, Kai. Hi, she smirked. This was Diamond, my unruly half-sister. Mom and I both muttered back hellos, but Dad seemed oblivious to the tension between us all. It was rather successful. I believe the Woodward contract will be mine very shortly. Well, seeing as you're here, you must stay for dinner. After dinner, Mom and I went to the kitchen to bring out the desserts, leaving Dad and Diamond alone. But as we headed back to the dining room, we heard Diamond say, Please let me be your assistant. I want to learn more about the family company. Besides, I'm far more business-minded than Kai, so I don't see why I can't be the director one day. Hearing this, Mom cleared her voice. Diamond then startled and turned around to see Mom holding up a plate with a smile. Anyone for fruit? The next day, Mom asked me to go on a walk with her around the garden. Through gritted teeth, she said, You heard what that devil Diamond said to your father. She's after your position in the company. We can't let her get away with this. Oh no. What did my mother have planned now? I didn't want to play games, I just wanted to be Liana. She continued, You'll have to come back home at once and work in the company. As Kai, of course. No way, I yelled. I've followed your selfish rules for 20 years. This is my time now. I'm not doing this. I started to walk away, but Mom pulled on my arm. Darling, I know. She let out a thoughtful sigh. But if you tell the truth now, then your father might disown us, which will allow Diamond to wriggle her way to what is rightfully yours. We can't let this happen. It's unacceptable. I shook free of Mom's grip and stormed off. This time, she didn't try to stop me. I needed time to think this all through. I didn't want to be Kai anymore, but I also didn't want us to lose everything. I really hate doing this, but I guess it's not totally unreasonable of Mom having to pull out these desperate measures. I found my mother in the conservatory, staring thoughtfully out of the window. On seeing me, she smiled. "Oh, Kai, Mom, I'm sorry. I've been childish. I know you only want the best for me." Mom took my hand and replied, "No. I'm the one who's been asking too much of you. I've been thinking, and perhaps there's a way in which you can be both Kai and Liana." I gave her a questioning look, and she continued, "It's bonkers, of course, but it might just work." She chuckled. "Kai should get engaged to Liana." What? My mother wanted me to get engaged to myself? But then thinking about it, my mother was an expert at bringing her crazy ideas into fruition. Besides, what did I have to lose? Well, besides my entire family and inheritance. So the next day, while I was having dinner with my parents and grandparents, I stood up and announced, "I have something to tell you all. I have a fiancé, Liana. She's smart, beautiful, well-educated, and you're all going to love her. We plan to marry as soon as I finish my master's degree." And I passed around my phone with a Liana picture on it. My grandparents seemed thrilled, and my grandpa said, "Ah, yes, it's about time our beloved grandson found himself a wife." I held my breath as the picture reached my father, and he peered down at it with scrutinizing eyes. He looked up at me, and for a horrible moment I thought he'd figured out the truth. But then he said, Good. So, when will we meet this Liana?" "Soon. She's just finishing her courses. She's coming over next week. But I still had some paperwork going on at school, so Liana will visit you guys first, and I'll fly home later. That's how excited she is to meet you all."
I can't wait, dear. She seems like a lovely young lady."
My grandma looked genuinely happy. Then I continued, "Yes, Nanny, she is. And in fact," I turned to Dad, "Liana is looking for an internship. It would be nice if she could get a spot in our company, as she'll have to learn about our family's business sooner or later. Right, Dad?" He seemed pleased as he replied, "Very well. Just bring her over." So Mom's latest crazy plan seemed to be working. After my announcement, I stayed home for a few more days as Kai. Then I flew back to Canada, packed my things, and flew back as Liana. Phew, this was exhausting. Walking into the house with all eyes on me was terrifying, but everyone rushed over and greeted me. Even Diamond. Mom linked arms with me. "Darling, our house has plenty of guest rooms. You gotta stay here, I insist. We all are family now, aren't we? Please, make yourself at home." Smiling, I replied, "Thank you, Mrs. Wilson, that would be lovely." Suddenly Diamond interrupted, "Oh, seeing as this house has that many spare rooms, why can't I have one?" Mom looked flustered, then reluctantly replied, Sure, Diamond. I have never said that you couldn't. Just pick one." This was not part of the plan, but fine. I ain't scared of her. Mom then led me to my room and kept reminding me to be extra careful now that Diamond was around 24/7. On one occasion, I was reading by the window in our home library when Diamond waltzed in and yanked the book off me. "Oh, I get it. You're only marrying that half-brother of mine for the first edition books." She winked. I took the book back off her, then politely replied, "Yes, I'll marry whoever I need to if it means getting this 8th edition book published in 2017. Oh, the glamour. Hilarious. She just sneered and walked away to hide the humiliation. Unfortunately, even at work, I didn't get a break from Diamond. Instead, I was assigned a job under her management. Ugh. One time, I returned from lunch to find the report I was working on had vanished from my desk. I pulled my desk apart looking for it, only for her to pass it to me at the end of the day. Then, with this devious grin on her face, she said, "You were meant to have this finished today, weren't you? It looks like you're in for a late one." Ugh! She was definitely more of an imitation than a diamond. And as he'd predicted, my father ended up getting the Woodward contract, and it was a huge deal. Some of the representatives from the company were coming in to discuss the project, so everyone seemed to be buzzing around like flies in preparation. Diamond ordered me to make coffee and take it to our guests. I was walking with the tray of drinks when I bumped straight into someone. Oh no, the coffee soaked his white shirt. As I muttered out a sorry, I realized something. I knew this man. He looked really familiar. It was Kevin, my old school friend. He'd changed so much, but it was definitely him. I'd recognize him anywhere. But he didn't seem to recognize me, which I guess wasn't surprising seeing as I was dressed as a girl. I wonder what he was doing here. Oh no, I'd just covered my childhood friend Kevin in coffee, but I'm currently Liana, so he didn't recognize me, as he only knew me as Kai. Confused? Then you should check out parts 1 and 2 first. I frantically apologized to Kevin while looking around for some napkins to soak the coffee up. It's fine, he smiled. I smiled back at him. Yep, he was the same kind, sweet Kevin. Suddenly I heard Diamond's voice. Liana, what have you done? Then she appeared next to Kevin and gently touched his arm. I apologize. She's new. It's okay. It was my fault anyway. I wasn't looking where I was going. That's just typical of you, always taking the blame. She gave him this starry-eyed look. Oh, so you two already know each other? I thought out loud. Yes, Kevin and I went to college together in Oz. I introduced him to Father for this project, as I believe he'll be an asset to it. Now run along and make some fresh coffees. Diamond gave me a stare. As I went off to make coffees, again, I wondered about Diamond. Did she like Kevin? Oh, no. That manipulative girl doesn't deserve such a sweet guy like him. Later that day, we had a meeting where my dad introduced Kevin as the leader of the project. Kevin then thanked him and started talking about his visions for this project. And it was so obvious how all the girls in the room couldn't take their eyes off him, including Diamond. Ugh. The next day after work, I followed Kevin out to the parking lot and shouted his name. When he turned and saw me, he smiled, and I instantly felt warm inside. I have something for you, as, an apology for ruining your last one. I passed him a new shirt. I hope I guessed your size right. Thanks, you really didn't have to do this. He looked flattered as he took it from me. Yep, you have the size spot on. Impressive. His comment caused me to smile to myself. Living as a boy for years at least gave me a perk of understanding their sizes. I waved him goodbye and started to walk off, but he shouted, Wait, is there any chance I could have your number? You bet. I was blushing so hard by then. And after that, we started messaging each other, and every time my phone buzzed with his name, I found myself doing this gummy smile. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay in my love bubble with Kevin forever. Instead, I had to spend my days being bossed around by Diamond. Ugh. Once, she was ordering me to revise a report I'd already redone twice. Suddenly, Kevin walked over, picked up the report, and said, Oh, this one. You've done a good job with it, Liana. No need to change anything. Diamond looked furious at being undermined, and I couldn't hide my smug look. Take that, little Miss Bossy. After she left, I thanked him for helping me out. It's fine. Hey, don't take much notice of Diamond. She's just intent on impressing her father. If she causes you any more problems, just come find me, okay? Oh, what a sweet guy he was. But one afternoon, I walked into the office kitchen to make myself a drink and saw Diamond and Kevin having a serious chat. On seeing me, Diamond said to him, I'm sorry, Kevin. You needed to know the truth. Then she gave me a snooty look as she passed me. I wonder what that was about. I was going to ask him, but before I could, he just left without so much as a glance in my direction. Okay, that was weird, but maybe he was just busy, right? That evening, I messaged Kevin and asked him if he wanted to go for a jog in the park. He agreed, but when he showed up, he could barely meet my eye. Kevin, what's wrong? He was silent for a moment, then shouted, Why? Why did you lie to me? Diamond told me how you're engaged to Kai. Why did you lead me on? I sputtered out, but he just tutted, then walked off. I stood there speechless and wondering how I was going to get out of this mess. If this wasn't bad enough, as I was on my way home, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Diamond. Leave the house and the company by tomorrow, else I'm telling Kai the truth. Of course, I just ghosted her dumb message, and true to her word, the next day, my Kai phone went off. It was Diamond telling me how Liana was cheating on me. It was crystal clear she wasn't going to drop this. Some days later, my father asked me to go to dinner with him, so he could get to know me better before I married his son. I thought this was sweet of him, so I agreed. Besides, this was a great opportunity to test the water, figuring out if he's ready for the truth yet. We had some small talk over the appetizer. Then suddenly, Dad put down his fork and asked me, "How is Kai? It's such a shame to admit, but we've grown distant over the years, and it was all my fault. I know I haven't always been the best father," he trailed off. "Kai's good," I replied. I guess it was now or never to say what I wanted to. Actually, he's really happy in Canada. And, well, he has these big dreams of becoming an architect. "Oh, I didn't know that." He lowered his head. "I just thought he'd want to inherit the company one day." His heart isn't in it. He's so afraid of telling you as he doesn't want to disappoint you. He was silent, and I worried he was going to yell at me, only he didn't. Instead, gave a thoughtful sigh, then replied, "Very well. I respect Kai's decision, and I will support him on whichever path he chooses." This was totally unexpected from him. I was so overwhelmed, I left my seat to hug him, and I told him I'd pass the words to Kai. Now I finally knew how much Dad loved Kai, which means he loved me too, right? I just needed to find a good time to tell him the truth. The next day, on my way home from work, I received a frantic phone call from Mom. Turns out Diamond had told everyone in the family that I'd cheated on Kai. As I was trying to figure out what to do next, Dad messaged my Liana phone and demanded I come home at once. On the way home, I thought about what I was going to say to him. Geez, this was terrifying. If it went wrong, Mom and I could end up disowned. I knocked on his study, and in a serious tone, he said, "Come in." Then on seeing me, he continued, "Liana, Diamond seems adamant you are liaising with Kevin behind my son's back. Please explain yourself." I took a deep breath, then blurted out, "The thing is, I'm not cheating on Kai because, well, I am Kai." Then in Kai's voice, I continued, while slowly took off my wig. "I was never actually a boy. Instead, I'm a girl, but Mom didn't want me losing out to Diamond, so she made me pretend to be a boy." He was so shocked. He leaned back in his chair and almost tumbled backward. I explained to him why Mom and I did what we did. It was such a relief, finally having that weight off my shoulders. I knew Dad needed some time to digest this avalanche of information, so I put my wig back on and went to find Mom. She was pacing her bedroom in anxiety. "I've told you to be extra careful around Diamond. Now how are we possibly meant to carry out this plan?" "Don't worry, Mom. I had found a way to resolve this mess." I comforted her, but didn't let her know that I'd told Dad the truth yet, as that would just make her even more anxious. The next few days, Dad still acted normal, as if nothing had happened, and when I walked into the dining room for dinner, I saw Diamond's face drop. She clearly thought Dad would have chucked me out by now. She slammed her fist on the table and yelled at Dad, "Why's she still here?" Ignoring her, he asked Grandpa to pass him the gravy. This only angered Diamond further, and she pointed at me and screamed, "She cheated on Kai! Kick her out of this house!" I put down my cutlery, calmly stood up, and in a confident voice I said, "In fact, I am Kai." It was worth doing just for everyone's reaction. My mom turned white. Diamond was dumbfounded while my grandparents clung onto the table in shock. After I'd explained it all to them in more detail, Diamond was the first to respond. "So you and your mother lied to everyone? This is unacceptable. Get out of this house." Poor Mom looked so ashamed. She couldn't meet Dad's eye as she mumbled out, "Don't blame Liana. She was just a child. It's my fault." Then she pulled my arm and whispered to me that we should leave. Diamond sneered, "Those liars. You deserve that." "Will you please be quiet? Else I advise you to just leave." Dad gave Diamond a stern look. This shocked her, and she sat back down in silence. "I've made a lot of mistakes over the years, and because of them I have many regrets. I was selfish and unkind." He looked at Mom. "It pains me to know that you felt as though I left you with no choice but to lie to me. I love you, but I know how I treated you was cruel. I was so desperate for a child that I sought comfort in someone else. I know I wasn't there for you and Kai, Liana, when you needed me. Now, if you'll let me, I want to make amends." Diamond jumped up to her feet so fast that the whole table wobbled. She screamed out, "This is nonsense!" and stormed off. So, that sure was eventful, but Finally, everyone knew the truth, which meant Mom and I didn't have to lie anymore. And best of all, I never had to pretend to be Kai ever again. The following week, I was roaming around the house when I saw Diamond in her room, packing. I stepped in, and she said, "I'll be out of your sight in a blink. Don't worry. I'm leaving for Miami." I knelt next to her. "I don't want you to go. After all, we're sisters." She gave me this wide-eyed look. But I was horrible to you. You must have been through so much being forced to live as a boy." "Yeah, it was hard at times, but it's okay. I can be me now." I smiled. "I know I was mean. I'm sorry. I guess I've always felt like an outsider. I know my mom wants me to claim what's rightfully mine, and I felt so pressured because I'm no match for Kai." "Don't worry about it. We've all done things we regret. Besides, Kai's gone, so you can just be you. You're a great businesswoman, although you might need to tone down a notch on the bossiness." I chuckled. "Come on, sis. Let's get you unpacked." When we'd finished, I hugged her and said, "Oh, as for Kevin, I think we should fairly compete for his heart." She blushed. "Oh, no, it's fine. I used to like him, but he just sees me as a friend. Besides, everyone in the company knows it's you he likes." I felt good that we'd sorted things out. Now I just need to fix things with Kevin, and I had the perfect idea. I messaged him telling me to meet me by the woods close to his old school. Then I went and waited by the tree we once built a den in. He walked over to me, a confused look on his face. "Leanna, how did you know about this spot?" He sat down next to me and I said, "I used to come here with my best friend when I was a kid. He was such a sweet boy. He never judged me or questioned me. It always pained me that I didn't get to say goodbye to him." I could see Kevin's mind ticking away. That's when I took off my wig, wiped away my makeup, and passed him half of a candy bar and said, "It's been a long time coming, but I owe you this." He stared at me, open mouth. So, you're Kai and Liana?" I said, "Yeah, it's me. I'm both. That's why I always felt familiar towards you. This is unbelievable," he continued. "Wow." He stared at me through teary eyes. "Just wow. I mean, this is crazy. I was so upset when you left, and now here you are." When he got over the initial shock, I told him about my life and why I pretended to be a boy. Afterward, he hugged me tightly and said, "I'm not losing you again, Liana. I love you."
Why do we have to study logarithms? Will they help us with stockbroking? Surely not. Why suddenly create the X and then force us to find it? And why do I have to prove that it's an isosceles triangle? I see clearly that it is. Duh! Then I received the note back saying, "What are you two talking about?" I just figured that another kid had intercepted it. So with my eyes still glued to my level 3692 of Candy Crush, I scrawled back, "Keep your nose out of my business," and then handed the paper over without looking. Ahem. But your business is taking place in my class. I slowly looked up and saw that it was my teacher. Oh, dang. Busted again. Looking over, I saw Brett with his big guilty face. Ugh, he should have been more careful. Okay, you. And you. Out. You're probably wondering how I'm such a pro at this pose. Well, it's because I've done it 1,000 times. And that serious woman over there is Mrs. Megan, my math teacher. I swear, she totally has it in for me. Okay, let me tell you the story. Once upon a time, there was a girl who, due to an unexpected accident with a trash can and an ill-placed skateboard, ended up arriving a teensy bit late for her exam. But the teacher refused to let her in, and also failed her. Grrr. Yeah, that girl was me, Lexi. Thus, from that moment forth, she became my arch enemy. So, during her boring lecture, I threw a paper plane at the board and said, "Miss, you've spelled arithmetic wrong.
I suppose spelling is a bit hard for a numbers person like you. It's okay. Clearly my comment got to her, as during that same class, she picked on me to graph a function. Easy peasy. So I created a masterpiece that made her eyes roll, and the whole class found it hilarious. And as expected, she gave me a lengthy lecture on my childish behavior, and even threatened to call my parents. Poof! Yeah, good luck with that, as unless it involved business, then my parents were practically impossible to reach. Besides, I was just having a laugh. Mrs. Megan needed to lighten up. So I secretly stuck a piece of paper saying free hugs on her back. I lurked behind a tree and watched as all these people surrounded her. She looked so bewildered as she tried to navigate past them while having no idea what was going on. The good old days. Suddenly, Brett patted my shoulder and told me 30 minutes had passed and we needed to go back to class. My butt hadn't even touched my chair when I heard a patronizing voice say, "You shouldn't act like that." Ugh, that's Faye, the teacher's pet and a real pick-me girl. Every time the teacher asks a question, she wriggles her arm in the air and squeaks out, "Me, me!" Mrs. Megan only likes her because she always laughs at her boring jokes. Oh well, I may have no proof, but in my experience, Faye's definitely not as innocent as she looks. Don't say I'm jealous, 'cause I'm 100% not. You probably think I hate school, but it's still way better than my so-called home. Ugh. At least school could be amusing, while my home life consisted of mom and dad locked away in their office 24/7. I can't remember the last time either of them cooked dinner. So takeaway it is. So I'm texting Ben, my super sexy BF. He's been studying in France, and he's back today. I've missed him so much, but unfortunately, I couldn't pick him up from the airport because of, school. And tonight, he has a family party, but we're meeting up tomorrow. Yay! Let me see your face, sweetie. I miss you. You know what? Today, that teacher gave me detention again. Really? She messed with the wrong one, didn't she? Definitely. I will retaliate tomorrow. She'd better watch out. Okay, but don't end up in after-school detention, as I want to see you. My mom's also a teacher, but she's not that much. Oh, by the way, she's here. You want to say hello? Yeah, sure. Ben, it gets on my nerves whenever I think of that Meeg. Before I had a chance to finish my words, a person popped up on the screen. Mrs. Megan! Lexi? OMG! We both gave each other stunned, open-mouthed stares. It looked like the screen had frozen. Literally. Then just when I didn't think it could get any worse, suddenly a familiar voice broke the silence. Oh, Ben has a girlfriend? Let me see her. Huh? That's Faye! Oh, my days, this is too much to process. My two enemies were in the same frame. Shocked, I ended the call. Right after, I received a text from Ben saying, "Don't worry, my mother may look super serious, but she's kind. And the girl is Faye, my neighbor. We've known each other since childhood, and she's cool." This was so crazy. Now I'd have to face them both every day, knowing that they're associated with my BF. Oh, the future is as dark as night. And yeah, this is the beginning of the series thusly entitled Living with My Future Mother-in-Law and My BF's Annoying Female Best Friend. And since then, things at school turned weird. For our class Halloween event, which had a Toy Story theme, Mrs. Megan was in charge of handing out the parts. Faye was Bo Peep, and she had this really cute outfit. While me, I was stuck as Mrs. Potato Head. My outfit was so lame, and one of my googly eyes kept on falling off. Ugh! It was so embarrassing, but I couldn't say anything. I couldn't mess with her anymore, as I still wanted to be with her son. Ugh. Worse still, math class became an endurance test. I was so sick of being compared to that goody two-shoes Faye. Lexi, if you spent more time studying and less time painting your nails, you'd be a top student like Faye. Poof! Faye caught on to what was going on and also started playing tricks on me. One time in class, when I was dozing and Mrs. Megan was correcting the homework, I overheard, "This symbol shows that A is not equal to B." Faye then turned around and whispered,
Just like you're not equal to me. And you don't deserve my Ben either.
"What? Ben is mine, not hers." I bared my teeth and was about to say something when that brat started pretending to cry, saying that I was picking on her. "Out!" Mrs. Megan came to us with burning eyes. We were walking out when in a sympathetic tone she added, "Faye, you stay." I returned to my meditating pose, but, I couldn't shake off my anger. How unfair! Later, when it was lunchtime, Faye walked over to me with a cup of Coke, saying it was a peace offering, and that she was sorry for earlier. This was confusing, but whatever. I took it and was about to take a sip when Brett rushed over waving his arms about. "Lexi, stop!" I saw Faye put soy sauce in it. I was just a second away from yelling at her when Mrs. Megan appeared. I smiled smugly, thinking Faye would finally get into trouble. But to my surprise, Mrs. Megan took a sip of the drink and tried to keep a neutral face as she replied, "There's nothing wrong with it." Really? They went that far to cover up for each other? Whatever. I had a date with Ben tonight to prepare for anyway. That night as planned, I arrived at Ben's house with a somewhat wilting pot plant for Mrs. Megan. I was kinda excited to finally have a cooked meal. Only, when I walked into the kitchen, I couldn't smell anything cooking. Mrs. Megan appeared and rubbing her hand said, "Lexi, you don't mind cooking, do you? It's just been a long week of drawing diagrams. My hand kinda aches." Seeing the situation, Ben immediately came to help, but she reminded him that he'd agreed to fix a pipe or something. To be honest, I'd never touched a frying pan before. But I mean, how hard could it be? I'd make pancakes, though it's not really suitable for dinner, but I'd seen them on a 5-minute crafts and they were clearly a breeze to make. Only, it didn't go to plan. In situations like this, it's important not to panic. But, yeah, I panicked. I needed a plan B. Quick! In a rush, I threw away all the evidence of the failed pancakes and ordered food online. After all, thanks to my workaholic parents, this was my forte. I instructed the delivery person to come to the back door, so Ben and Mrs. Megan would be none the wiser. Expectedly, at the very first bite, Ben and my mother-in-law praised me profusely for my food, and Ben even joked that I should join the next season of Master Chef. Yo, I will rate this restaurant 5 stars for sure. Mrs. Megan suddenly dropped her spoon, so I quickly bent down to pick it up, only she leaned down and whispered sarcastically, "I order from Sydney's too. Their sauces are divine." Oh, busted! Then, halfway through the night, this man showed up and apologized for being late. Turns out he was Jim, Faye's father, but Faye wasn't coming over as she was out with friends. Happy days! I watched Mrs. Megan and him touch a tissue box at the same time by mistake, and then blushed? Huh? Oh, I get it. She liked him. Now it made sense why she was always sucking up to Faye. "Have you thought about remarrying?" I asked Jim innocently. To the waiting eyes of me, as well as Mrs. Megan, he hesitantly answered, I don't think Faye would like that." Mrs. Megan glumly stared down at the floor. Okay, so I actually felt kinda sorry for her. Besides, matchmaking has always been my hobby, so I decided to help her. I knew that Faye was at a party on Saturday night, so I decided this was the perfect opportunity to play Cupid. I told Mrs. Megan that Jim had something to tell her, so meet him at the Golden Reef restaurant at 7 p.m. Then I told Jim the same. I stood behind a column and watched them share their starter, and then give each other gooey-eyed glances. Then Jim reached out and took Mrs. Megan's hand. They were looking at each other passionately when Faye suddenly rushed in from nowhere and angrily slammed her bag on the table.
"So this is it? My teacher? And my dad? For real?"
Faye, why are you here?" Jim stuttered.
"No one can ever replace Mom!"
Then she turned to a dumbfounded-looking Mrs. Megan. "Turns out you were only being nice to me to get my dad. You're fake. Stay away from us." Mrs. Megan covered her face with her hands, then quickly left. Geez, Faye was brutal. And however annoying Mrs. Megan was, she didn't deserve that. "You!" Faye shouted. Uh-oh, her gaze fixed on me. "It figures you'd be behind this. Keep your big nose out of our family business and start caring about yours instead. Guess this is what lack of parental care does to a kid." I stared at her speechless. Those words should have driven me mad, but for some reason, I only felt sad and so guilty. I really just meant well. So, first thing at school the next day, I swallowed my pride and went to Mrs. Megan's classroom, where she looked lost in thought as she marked homework. I coughed to clear my throat, then said, "Miss, I'm sorry. I honestly was trying to help, but now I realize I should have minded my own business. I'm also sorry for being a jerk in your class." She was silent at first, then replied, "It's okay, as I've come to realize that you and I aren't so different. We both have complications in the way of finding love. Guess it's really not easy to get approval from your parents' family, huh?" She smiled and gently stroked my hair before continuing, "You're such a smart and kind girl, and I always knew you could do better in class, that I must have been too harsh on you. I'm sorry, too." I smiled back at her, and at that moment, I felt like all of our previous conflicts melted away. And I realized that I shouldn't neglect my studies. Instead, I should work hard to become the best version of myself. So, with a lot of hard work, I went from trailing at the bottom of the class to reaching the top spot, even overtaking Faye. Ha! Speaking of Faye, she was still ignoring both me and Mrs. Megan, and never put her hand up in class anymore. But then a rainbow flame experience in the chem lab changed things. Everyone ran out of there when the curtain caught on fire, except for a terrified Faye. Luckily, Mrs. Megan rushed inside to rescue her just in time, and covered her with a jacket as she led her to safety. After that, Faye realized that Mrs. Megan is a good person who cares about both her and Jim. So, through blurry eyes, Faye sobbed out, "Thank you so much, and sorry, I was too childish. Please forgive me." A few months later. So, yeah, you see, my wing woman plan worked. And now I have a second family. A really big one. But you know what's the best thing? That is, I no longer have to order food online anymore. 'Cause I will stick to here, and my mother-in-law will cook for me. In part 1 of my story, I met my doppelganger, Tracy, who just so happened to be from a super wealthy, royal blood kind of family. We made a deal where I became her stunt double to stand in for her at boring royal parties, so she could freely be with the love of her life that her family didn't approve of. It's just like a part-time job, which helped me earn some extra money to pursue my dream of being a singer. But then one time, Tracy came over and asked me to move into her mansion and play this princess act for an entire month while she's off to Asia with her boyfriend. That would need some serious thinking. How was I supposed to keep this up 24/7? I could already see myself getting so busted. Sensing my hesitation, Tracy pleaded again. "Please, I'll give you whatever you want. This would mean so much for me and Arnold. You can do it, Kathy. We believe in you." She looked at me with those big puppy eyes. Oh no, what to do? At that exact moment, my mother walked out from the kitchen and said, "You've been doing a great job so far, sweetie. I'm sure you'll pull it off this time too. Don't worry, it'll be fine." Well, I couldn't say no now, so I gave Tracy a nod, which made her scream with happiness. "Yay! You've made my day! Tomorrow, 3 p.m., I'll be waiting for you." Then she grinned at my mother. "Thank you, Mrs. Mill." And so, I moved in the next day. It was just me, and Tracy's dad lived in this marvelous mansion. Yeah, as well as their butler and some dozens of housekeepers. You get the picture. Luckily, Tracy's dad was rarely home, so I basically had the place to myself. It was bliss. I didn't have to lift a finger. If I wanted a glass of wine, I just rang the bell and a glass would be waiting before I even put the bell down. One day, I felt like Mexican food, and they actually flew one of the top Mexican chefs in just to make me a burrito. I could seriously get used to this whole royal blood thing. However, there were a few moments where I totally messed up. One time, Tracy's dad had a day off, so we ate dinner together. I was so nervous that I totally forgot that Tracy was left-handed, and her dad noticed right away. "Sweet pea, since when are you eating with your right hand?" I stammered, trying to make something up. I've recently seen some research saying I should start using my right hand to train the left side of my brain too. Just experimenting, Dad. Oof, that was close. But it didn't stop there. Doris, the housekeeper, came into my room one day and joked, "Tracy, when did you become so tidy? If I didn't know better, I'd say you had been replaced by a secret twin sister or something." I totally froze, trying not to let Doris know that she had just hit the nail on the head. I laughed it off. "Oh, Doris, don't be so silly. It's me. Check my birthmark." I was kind of bored and just thought I could clean it up a little bit. But it's even more boring. Ugh. "It's all yours now." I passed her my unfolded blanket and swiftly left the room. Each close call like that reminded me to be more careful. But other than that, my new life was full of wonderful things. Especially when I had Thomas by my side. At first I tried to act as cold as possible towards him, just like how Tracy would normally treat this fiancé of hers. But tell me, how am I supposed to ignore such a perfect man? He often came to visit me or took me to places. He always gave me all these butterflies with his charm and elegant gestures, and it wasn't long before I realized I had feelings for him. I just couldn't help it. He made me so happy. One night, instead of having some fancy 8-course dinner date, I suggested we try something more casual. So we went bowling and grabbed some burgers. We had so much fun, and at one point, he took my hand and said, "Thank you for opening your heart to me and giving me a chance to be your man," as he put a soda can ring on my finger. Come on, who wouldn't melt to that? And when he dropped me home, he leaned over to kiss me. Oh my God! My heart was thumping in my chest as I got out of the car. Then he said, "Good night, my darling Tracy." Suddenly, reality came crashing down. I had been delusional. It was Tracy that Thomas loved, not me, not poor old Kathy. But it's too late now. I'd been so carried away with my own feelings that I didn't realize how my behaviors towards Thomas had been taken as a green light. Both families were super stoked that Tracy finally showed some positive signals towards this relationship, and they started planning the wedding right away. The date was set for 2 weeks later. Then the plan was for us to move to Singapore for Thomas's work. I was so shocked at how fast everything was moving. This was a disaster. I called Tracy and told her everything. She also freaked out and told me to stay calm and just wait for her. She'd get back before the wedding day to stop it. Well, the wedding day was fast approaching, and there was still no sign of Tracy. I was really panicking now. And the worst part was that I couldn't get a hold of her. Her phone was off. I didn't know what to do. I cried to my mom over the phone, so she tried to calm me down. "Honey, I think if you leave now, you'll mess everything up. If Tracy's family finds out, you'll both be in trouble. Hang on a bit more. I'm sure she'll be back and everything will be okay." "But that means I have to go through with the wedding and then move to Singapore with him. I can't do that, Mom." "Why not, sweetie? I know you love him, and so far no one has spotted a difference between the two of you. Just keep pretending for now, okay?" So that's what I did. I kept pretending. While everyone prepared for the wedding of the year, I paced back and forth waiting for Tracy to get back. One day I was out in the garden, trying to ease my mind, when someone approached me. He looked so familiar, and I wondered if it was Arnold, Tracy's boyfriend. But what was he doing here? He asked me to follow him so that no one would see us, and then he seemed angry and said, "Tracy, why didn't you tell me you were back? I was so worried when you disappeared like that." "Huh? Wasn't Tracy supposed to be with him? Arnold, calm down. I'm not Tracy. I'm Kathy. But Tracy has disappeared? I haven't been able to contact her either, and I've been worried sick.
Oh, hey, Kathy. Gosh, you two are identical.
Arnold looked disappointed.
Anyway, we came back a few days ago, and she wanted to swing by your mum's place to give us some presents. Then I haven't seen her since.
That's weird. My mum would have mentioned if she swung by.
Yeah, I've asked her, but she hadn't seen Tracy either. Kathy, we need to find her.
So I immediately canceled my wedding dress fitting and went with Arnold to my house. Hey, Mom, it's me. I called out, but there was no answer. We searched the house, but couldn't find her anywhere. Then, as we passed my room, I could hear someone inside, and the door was locked. That was so odd. So I rushed to get the spare key to open it, and got the fright of my life. Tracy was sitting on my bed. I almost screamed. What are you doing here? Tracy looked as shocked to see us as we were to see her. I don't know why your mom locked me in here, but don't worry. She didn't hurt me. I'm being fed well and I have Netflix, so it's not all bad. No way. My mom would never do such things. She was the sweetest woman, and this was so out of character. Then I heard footsteps on the stairs. It was my mom. I screamed. Mom, could you please explain? What's going on here? She looked at me and stammered. I just planned to keep her here for a few days, just until you married Thomas and flown to Singapore with him. Are you insane? Do you want me to steal her life? No, sweetie, it's not stealing. It should have been your life. I mean, why didn't he recognize his own daughter? At this, she burst into tears and fell to the floor. Arnold rushed over and helped her up and said,
What do you mean, his own daughter?
And that's when my mom told me that Tracy is actually my half-sister. What? So Tracy's dad was my dad too? Turns out, when my mom had fallen pregnant with me, Tracy's dad's family hadn't approved because my mom was just a normal person. So they'd paid her to move to another city and stay away from Dad. But what's even worse is that my dad didn't even try and look for us after that. In fact, a few months later, he'd already married Tracy's mom, who came from a rich family. Both Tracy and I stood there completely shocked. No wonder we looked so similar. So, you're my sister? I gasped, staring at Tracy with wide eyes. Really? Dad did that? What a selfish, arrogant man! I'm ashamed to even be related to him. I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. The truth needs to be told. No, Tracy, wait. Don't do that. My mom yelled. Sorry, but I have to. I can't play this game anymore. I have a plan. At that, Tracy walked off and Arnold ran after her. Here we go, I thought. And eventually, the wedding day of Thomas and Tracy rolled around. Me, my mom, and Arnold showed up in disguise. When the vicar asked them both to say I do, Thomas said it immediately. But Tracy paused. The whole church held their breath waiting for her I do, but it never came. Instead, she said, I can't do this, Thomas. I'm sorry. That's when Arnold appeared, and Tracy ran towards him and held his hand. This man, he is the true love of my life. Of course, Tracy's dad was furious. He got up from his seat and yelled in front of everyone, What on earth is going on? And that's the moment when I felt so proud of Tracy. She said, I don't love Thomas, Dad, and he deserves to be with someone who truly loves him back. That's what marriage is about, right? It should be based on love, not status or money. And anyway, I don't want to hurt someone the way you did.
What are you talking about? Who did I hurt?
He looked stunned. My mom, Kathy's mom, and Kathy herself, too. Tracy pointed over at me and my mom. Everyone in the church gasped as they looked from Tracy to me and back again. We really were identical. He looked like he was going to faint when he saw my mom. And then with a shaking hand, He pointed to me and said, "And who is this?" My mom walked towards him and said, "This is Kathy, your daughter, the one you abandoned." Wow, I didn't think my mom had it in her. Honestly, the tension in the air was crazy. People started whispering and shuffling in their seats. That was when Thomas said, "So, which one of you is Tracy?" I decided this was my moment to speak up. "I'm not Tracy. I'm Kathy. I've been taking her place during the past month. I'm so sorry for lying to you this whole time." I couldn't even look him in the eyes as I put in his hand the soda ring that meant so much to me. Thomas looked disappointed and marched off. I ran after, trying to stop him, but he didn't care. Only, when I tripped and fell to the ground, he turned around to say, "Why would you do this? Giving me false hope? And for what? Honestly, it would have been better if you'd treated me the way Tracy the Ice Queen does." "I'm sorry, Thomas. I didn't want to hurt you. My feelings for you are real." I started to cry. "You're so selfish, Tracy. Oh no, wait. I mean, Kathy." Then he walked off. In the end, the wedding was obviously canceled. Tracy's dad, or should I say, our dad, had no choice but to accept Tracy and Arnold's relationship. I was so happy for her. Dad, of course, also apologized to me and Mom, and even offered me to come and live with them. But I refused. I wasn't about to leave my mom. However, I did accept his offer to pay for my vocal training. At least I could live this dream of mine. Because I doubted I could make my other dream come true. My dream to see Thomas again. I was heartbroken. Still, I had to get on with life. Maybe I'd meet someone else. Pretty soon, it was time to graduate from my first semester of vocal training, and I was going to have my first ever solo performance to an audience. I was so nervous, but I sang with all my heart, and afterwards, as I left the theater, someone ran up to me with a giant bouquet of flowers. Unbelievable! It was Thomas! I burst into tears and he said, "Hi, Kathy. I'm Thomas. Nice to meet you." That put the widest smile on my face. I then ran into his arms saying, "It feels so good to hear you call me by my real name." "Yes, I'm Kathy. I know we just met, but will you be my boyfriend?" And you guessed it. The rest is now history. We're currently planning our wedding. For real this time. And I've honestly never been happier.
I've never been in a negotiation that lasted this long before. I've been here since 3, and it's now 8. Worse still, I hadn't even mentioned the funding yet. I've tried, but it was Dane's fault. He kept on interrupting me and going off topic. As I looked at Dane, who was currently reenacting a soccer game with condiments, I wondered how on earth was he a part of the student council. He might have been a senior, but he was an average grade student who didn't seem to excel at anything. He also exaggerated everything and mainly just messed around. I should never have agreed with Dane to arrange the meeting here. Not only had I wasted 5 hours of my life, but it looked like the funding was a no deal. I couldn't take any more of this. Remind me never to listen to Dane, ever again. I grabbed my bag and was about to stand up when Mr. Johnson turned to me. "Ruth, I love your idea. Funding all of it would be a bit of a stretch, but I can go to 80%. And if it becomes a yearly thing, I'll be happy to continue sponsoring it." I stared at him open-mouthed. Did I hear him right? Mr. Johnson, the owner of the local music shop, was actually agreeing to provide a big chunk of the funding for our student talent show? "By the way, I like this Dane guy. Today's been fun." Dane wooed, "Yes, it's a dealio," and enthusiastically shook Mr. Johnson's hand. Wait, I was supposed to be the one to close the deal. Never mind. We had the funding. This was amazing. We did it! Dane punched the air. "Hey, how did you?" He gave a Cheshire cat grin as he replied, "Never expected that, did you? What do you think of me now, Ruth the new president?" I shrugged and laughed. Hey, how about a celebratory hug, huh? He lunged at me with open arms. Well, why not? This deserved a celebration after all. We were jumping up and down, and I don't know, maybe I was delirious from the stupidly long meeting or something. But the next thing I knew, we were kissing. OMG! We immediately pulled away from each other and awkwardly looked the other way. After that, he drove me home in silence. Oh no, what was I thinking? Why did I, or anyone breathing, do that? It was Dane. Dane! Can you believe it? Well, okay, I suppose it'd been a difficult couple of months for me. As soon as I became president of the student council, my boyfriend Walter didn't congratulate me. No, instead he broke up with me. We'd been together for 2 years, but recently he'd spoken about marriage and buying a house. Not yet. I want to focus on my career first. But I guess me applying to the students' council and being all busy bee with work frustrated him even more. Now, I tried to distract myself with studying and council work, but I felt like I was getting ever closer to the edge of a cliff, one with hungry sharks circling the bottom. Ugh! And then there were the rumors being spread around school about me. Ruth's just a freshman. She won't be able to hack the pressure. And Ruth's so serious and boring. So I started working harder and harder to prove myself. Hence the talent show project. Only, geez, I was so exhausted, both mentally and physically. This funding news was fantastic. But what was going on with Dane? Maybe he has some kind of secret power of attraction or something. Anyway, after that incident, he flooded me with calls and messages, even though I was crazy busy. After the 12th call in a row, I stopped writing my essay and answered with an annoyed, "What? Hey there, how are you feeling about the weather today? My name is Ruth, not there, and I don't care about the weather, I'm busy." Busy enough to correct my words like that? I don't think so. Ugh, fine. I agreed to go out for a quick coffee with him just so he'd stop bugging me. I stirred my spoon around my coffee as I glared at him and said, "Will you stop calling me? I need to study." He stuffed the majority of his muffin into his mouth and took ages to chew it. Then he wiped his mouth onto the back of his arm and said, "You do realize all the other council members call you Military Ruth, right? Try not to be so difficult and chillax once, will you?" Wow, that sucked. I didn't expect to be liked by everyone, but I was working my butt off for the council, so they could at least appreciate what I was doing for them. I cleared my throat. I don't care. Work is work. I didn't become the president to make friends. "But I know you're not like that," Dane continued. "You might be going through a tough time. Still, you're the most stunning person I've ever met." My face brightened up, even blushed. What did he just say? "You're beautiful, strong, and independent." He reached out and took my hand, and I tried to ignore the fact it was sticky from his muffin. Ew. "I must be the luckiest guy ever to date a girl like you, Ruth. Those other girls are just jealous of you. I mean, you have this hunk, and they don't." Hold up. He said what? Date? I gave him a disgusted, "Who do you think you are?" look. Reading my expression, his face dropped. "Oh, I, thought there was something between us." I froze for a few seconds. Was I being too harsh? I mean, he was totally sweet saying those words earlier. Fine. Listen carefully. I'll hang out with you. Not dating. But you have to promise, swear, that you'll never, ever tell anyone about it. I don't know. I mean, he was so immature and annoying, but I guess he was also kind of fun to be around. He made me laugh, and I liked that. All I did was work, work, work. And perhaps that was why Walter broke up with me, wasn't it? Maybe when I hang out with Dane, I should practice being less serious. One Sunday, when we were having brunch at a random cafe of his choice, I asked about his graduation coming up that summer and his plan. "Honestly, I haven't thought any further than finishing my freshman year," he said between chewing on his sandwich. "How about you?" he asked. "Well, I want to go to an Ivy League college for a master, of course. preferably Dartmouth, and study social science. Then I want to work for the government, but high up, like a managing role, and really make an impact, Dane shrugged after I finished. Yeah, nice plan. And kept digging in his food. I felt weird. Was I being unrealistic? Or was it just Dane's point of view? But to have a happy relationship, maybe it's best to compromise and accept the differences, right? I snapped myself back into the now. If this whole thing with Dane hadn't happened, I would still be in anguish and despair. It was strange, but I did feel better around him, unlike with Walter. So I should respect his opinions. Gotta learn from my mistake, right? One day, I was at a council meeting planning a fundraiser for the remainder of the talent show money. I decided it was time people saw the real Dane, so I made him event organizer. But this didn't go down well. As in the other council members' eyes, Dane was a lazy, idiotic puppet. Give him a chance. He's the one who persuaded Mr. Johnson to fund the talent show. Please, we never know other people's limits and abilities. Then, this girl Catherine sarcastically said, "Of course you'd know his ability since he's your boyfriend." You suck at leading. All you care about is your personal feelings. I know. I'll date you. Then I may actually get given a job I deserve. My tongue was tied. I couldn't find a word to defend myself. And at the same time, I was really, really mad at Dane. And worse still, he hadn't even bothered showing up for the meeting. Afterward, I went round to Dane's house and furiously banged on the door. Yelled at him the moment he opened it. How come people know that we've been hanging out? Dane silently scratched his head, eyes open wide, and stared awkwardly at some random spot. Answer me! I continued, but still no reply. I pointed my finger at his face. I just went through a hurricane of rage in a meeting with the council to put you in charge of the fundraiser event. And you didn't even bother showing up. You better do an amazing job, else we'll both be dead. Then I stormed off. Over the next few days, the rumors continued to circulate about me. Clearly, Dane had been bragging to everyone that he'd managed to score himself a stiff girl like me. That I was no tigress, more like a lovely kitten. Now everyone was staring and laughing at me, and made meow sounds at me in the corridors. Someone even filled my seat in the council room with cat food. This was horrible to deal with. But instead of supporting me, Dane went rogue from school for a full week. He also didn't arrange the venue for the fundraiser, meaning we had to reschedule the event. I was left looking bad, so the teacher gave me a lecture on responsibility and strongly advised me to leave the student council. So that's what I did. Catherine's in charge now. After that, I couldn't face school. So I locked myself away in my room and cried as I thought back to all the things that had happened. First, Walter left me. Then everyone else on the council mocked me. Then I lost my position on the council I worked hard for because I put my trust in the wrong person. Ugh, Dane. What he did hurt the most, as he was exactly what others described him as, childish and insensitive. I was torn between never wanting to see him again and also missing him like crazy. Now I had no one. I felt so alone. Ugh, darn it. Loneliness sucked. So when he called me, I answered. He told me he was outside my house. I guess I should at least hear him out, right? Hey, beautiful, listen. He grabbed my hand and looked straight into my eyes. It doesn't matter, okay? The council, the president position, those people don't matter. The most important thing is you being happy, and I'm gonna make you happy. I wanted so much to believe his words. So I let him take me out. We ended up in this noisy restaurant with singing waiting staff. He found it hilarious, but I felt so uncomfortable. Then on the way back, he dragged me into this arcade and left me so he could go on the zombie killing game. As I watched him spin around then shoot, I realized how different we were. I guess I was holding on to him because I'd lost everything else. Who was I anymore? I felt like a stranger to myself. This wasn't me, and Dane wasn't right for me. He rushed over to me and excitingly clung onto my arm. Ruth, come see my high score. I shook my head and quietly said, It's over. I pulled my arm free and walked off. After that, I kept to myself, and at school, avoided Dane and my former council members as much as possible. It did hurt when I saw the posters for the talent show around the school, but that wasn't my problem anymore. I did receive a message from Dane saying something about his graduation party, but I skipped it. The truth is, he's just not good for me. Life was a joke to him, and as a result of this, he left me feeling like I was a joke too. I felt so lost. So I'm going to spend the summer with my grandparents out in the country, away from everyone and everything. I need time to heal, so when I come back, I'll be strong, confident, and independent girl I once was. As I really do miss that version of me. Each one of us needs to learn how to overcome things by ourselves, without relying on others, especially when these others in question aren't any good for us.